westbound 370 from the Mills out to the Discovery Bridge is a lot of congestion, backed up traffic. I think folks are using that as an alternate route. Northbound 170 approaching 70 to Airport Road, slow. South 170 delays at Delmar. Eastbound 70, we have an incident at O'Fallon Park. Another problem downtown, so it's jammed back to about Kings Highway. Westbound 64, Kings Highway out through McCausland's heavy, then from McKnight all the way out to 270 is slow, and it backs up Lake St. Louis Boulevard to 70. Eastbound 70, David Hochul to Wentzville Parkway, still kind of busy. South 270, just slow passing 64, no big deal there. Southbound 55, Butler Hill, Merrimack Bottom area, you've got delays. 64 downtown is kind of busy. Eastbound from Jefferson up through to the 6th Street exit, and eastbound 64 backs up between 157 and 159 on the Illinois side. Next update at 5:20 from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
You want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by BUSY Bank. Building community with BUSY Bank. Beyond the game. And by St. Luke's Hospital. St. Louis's #1 heart hospital.
And it feels like it's been forever that we've had a normal rush hour with the three amigos. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler. We're all here today. We've got a full show. The Cardinals are off tonight. They don't get back into it till tomorrow against the O's. They get the O's now, Bernie. The O's coming to town.
Yeah, man. I had to wear this cap for two reasons. You know, my brother watches this show. Sometimes he's an Orioles fan.
What's up, brother Bernie?
Some of my boys I used to run with will watch it from time to time.
Nice.
And I also this is a 1954 Orioles cap. What's prominent about that? They were the St. Louis Browns in 1953. So this is the first year that they were in Baltimore. And cool. I have the Browns. I have the Browns cap from 1953.
Nice.
So I have them both. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, that's starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got a lot to talk about today. And I think there's a two-track conversation today. One is, okay, the weekend sucked. It just did. It was not fun to blow a game in the 10th inning, get blown out, and then blow another game. This weekend sucked, and we're going to start with that. But then we also, I think, the bigger picture, I think this year has gone very well in terms of rebuilding and building up the talent base. And we got another 30-home run prospect in the minor leagues in Jesus Baez, who's tearing it up, and Rainiel Rodriguez won't stop. We'll get into all of that. But let's just start with the weekend, guys. I mean, it was awful, but it's not the end of the world. They're 500 at this point. If you had told us all this in February or March, I think we would have all been like, yeah, right, 500 sounds pretty good for that time of year, given what this team's doing.
Yeah, Matt, I think they've exceeded expectations still, 69-69, but it's a team, three different times this year. They were 9 games over 500. And every time they kind of fell down, they started slip sliding. Then they would rally up. Then they'd slip slide, and that's who they are. I mean, and it's nothing to be ashamed about. They're lacking talent and depth in some areas, and they're very inconsistent. I mean, I thought it was just amazing they won 5 series in a row. I like this team a lot, but the fluctuations I think are really especially normal for a rebuilding team. And I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, the thing about Sunday in Philadelphia, it was awful. There's just I'm not trying to gloss over it. It was just absolutely awful. But let's not forget they won 2 out of the 3 series on that trip, right? Mm-hmm. And let's not forget that there's no shame involved. When you look at the 3 teams they played, there's no shame involved to coming home 5-6 on that trip, Yeah, it could have been better, but you know what? With the bullpen being as horrible as it is right now, it also could have been worse. That's the way I look at it.
Agreed.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. Riley O'Brien was bad yesterday, and that was a bad loss, and it's probably at the top of the worst losses of the season. It's probably the worst loss of the season. If it's not, it's top 3. I mean, there's some tough losses in there for sure, but to take a 4-0 lead into the bottom of the 9th and to be 1 strike away from ending the game multiple times and not being able to close it out, that is the gut punch of all gut punches. But every time this team gets into one of these situations, they tend to bounce back. So I'm going to be curious to see what happens moving forward. Might have this been kind of the beginning of the end for the season? Sure. But I've said that 3 or 4 times already this year. So I don't know. I think the thing that's been a little bit frustrating to me is it's the most predictable, stupid thing in the world that every time there's a moment like this, the people who have been hiding in the basement come back out, fire Ollie. Ollie's the worst manager in the world. You can't. He doesn't know how to manage a bullpen. Oh, this is the DeWitt's fault. The DeWitts are the worst. It's the same thing, and it's so tiring. There's these people who are just waiting. They are just waiting, ready to pounce the moment this team goes into a weird spot, and I just can't stand it.
Yeah, Wheels, a guy that I'm friends with on X, his handle is Cigar Mike.
Yeah.
He made a comment recently on X, and he said he complimented Cardinals fans in general. He said, but there's a segment of this fan base that seems to get a lot more pleasure over the team losing than the team winning. And I thought about that, and I said, that's a brilliant observation. It's a very weird psychological thing. Are these people so insecure that because they've been like banging on the table for years, like Ollie's awful, the DeWitts are horrible, everything's horrible, that they can't stomach the idea that maybe things aren't as bad as they say, so they just these dudes get aroused, man.
Yeah.
They get aroused by Cardinals failures. It's, gosh, what a strange way to live your life.
I get this. I've been getting this a lot lately. I'm sure you guys have gotten some version of it too. Is that basically that this is a zero-sum game? You're either all in contending or it should be a total tank job. And the reality is, no, it doesn't have to be one or the other. If you look at this, I'm going to see if you guys agree with this. I look at it like there's a scale of 1 to 10, okay? 1 is complete tank job. It's the Cubs and Astros. You completely obliterate your major league roster, and you finish last on purpose to get high draft picks. That's 1. 10 is the Dodgers. There's a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in there. They all exist, and the Cardinals are probably at a 4 or 5. You don't have to be at a 1 or a 10. There's a lot of levels in between, and we just got so many people that don't acknowledge anything in between black and white.
And, and I know this, Matt Pauley, I know this is kind of a BS thing, but you look at where the Cardinals are. Okay, they're 500. Well, I talk to my brother Brad in Baltimore all the time. He can't believe the Orioles are like right there for a wild card spot. And the American League is so disgracefully bad. The Cardinals would be like almost a lock for a wild card spot in the American League.
They'd be in first place in the AL West, where your leader right now is below 500.
Yeah.
Astros and Rangers, I believe, tied right there.
Oh man.
So and here's the other thing that I don't understand. Isn't it better to go through a rebuild where you're playing games that matter on August 23rd?
Be nice.
Wouldn't you? The team is doing everything that they have wanted to do. They are restocking the farm system. They're getting ready for players to get to the big leagues and have an impact. They are getting ready for this team to be able to be a legitimate World Series contender. They are doing all the things that the Cubs and the Astros did when they went through a complete teardown.
Except losing 100 games.
But they're still winning games,
Right.
and they're still competitive, and it's still mad. Why is that not? How is that not better? Of course it's better. Of course it's better.
And it's also exactly what they told us they were going to do. Hey, Bernie, I asked this of Matt. I'll ask it of you. Has Chaim Bloom told us anything yet about the team and the plan moving forward that he hasn't just absolutely lived up to?
No. He's been really very clear and very frank and very repetitive about stating, restating, repeating what the priorities are and how it's going to play out, and what they're going to do, and also what they're not going to do. So I'm not. Yeah, I have a hard time. I'm kind of worked up like my friend Pauley. I have a hard time. I just have a hard time understanding why people by now on August the 24th, why they still don't understand that everything he has said has been true, and hasn't played any hustle games or any con games or misleading anybody. I'm not sure why it's so difficult to understand. For at least a small percentage of the fans, I think it is. I don't know why, though.
Yeah.
And I'm a dumb guy. Even I get it. So anyway.
And we're also looking at, when they told us their primary kind of goals, right? It's to find out what you have at the major league level, and we've gotten a lot of answers. Good and bad, but answers are answers. And you've gotten great answers at first base, second base, shortstop, right field, catcher. You got questions still in a lot of spots, but you've gotten answers in Kyle Leahy in the rotation and all that. And then you look at the farm system, which is now kind of universally viewed as one of the top 2 or 3 in the sport. And I don't care which group of prospect rankers you want to look at. So high-end talent down there, maybe even generational talent in a case of a guy like Rainiel Rodriguez. So everything that you would say in terms of what do you want to accomplish in a rebuilding situation, you're accomplishing.
Yeah. And Kevin, you got answers in center field and third base as well. Victor's
That's
got
true,
the
right,
second,
right.
and Nolan
He's
Gorman
not your
are
guy,
Memphis
right
now.
Right.
So not all answers have to have good results, because
That's right.
when you get answers with negative results, that allows you to move on. Yeah. So, and maybe we see Gorman again before this season is over, and that presents something. But those guys are at Memphis right now because the team finally said, okay, it's not working.
Well said. Well said.
Well said.
All right, that covers the weekend, the bigger picture of what's gone wrong. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the things that, again, right and wrong, good and bad, as we go forward. You got the Orioles this week starting tomorrow. Tonight's an off night, so we got plenty of time to kick it around. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here, picking up the Cardinals talk again in a second here on Redbird Rush Hour.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the college is paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is BUSY, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. BUSY Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Your everyday choices matter. Siteman Cancer Center 8 Ways promotes healthy habits that can help lower your risk of cancer and other chronic diseases. Stay active, maintain a healthy diet, avoid tobacco, and keep up with screenings. Small steps today can lead to a healthier tomorrow. Learn more at siteman.washu.edu. Siteman Cancer Center. Every decision matters.
It's time to get everything you need for the job from one partner. No more juggling vendors. We've got your entire job supply covered. Supply the entire job with job lot quantities of everything you need, from flooring to roofing, with access to thousands of products not available in stores. More products mean more colors, sizes, and finishes, so you can get exactly what you need to get the job done. Learn more at the Pro Desk, the Home Depot Pro. It's about time.
When you see this in your kitchen,
the stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
You hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves, or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got trouble downtown. This traffic report's a service of Able Light Thrift Shop. It's a crash eastbound 70 at O'Fallon Park. Only the left lane is open. Of course, the express lanes are closed, but only left local lane is open. So it's a solid jam at Kings Highway because of that one. They stole the crash on the shoulder, westbound 70, just past 270. Westbound 70 is slow from about air flight out into the area. It remains busy, though, across the Blanchette Bridge to 5th Street, 94 out past Zumbell. Approaching K out to Bryan Road and A to Z in the Wentzville area. So there's a lot of slow traffic. 364, the Mills, 370 from the Mills out to the Discovery Bridge is heavy. North 170, Natural Bridge all the way up to Hanley's heavy. South 170, that's a jam between Delmar and Ladue down to 64. Eastbound 64 delays McKnight to Big Bend. Westbound 64 heavy. Approaching Kings Highway through Big Bend. And then again, it's slow. McKnight all the way to 270. West of Clarkson to Topgolf. It's jam 364 out to Highway 70. Eastbound 64. Mason to 270 is also busy. North 270 from Dorset up to 70 slow. Southbound, it's south of 370. Down to 70 again because of that crash. It's at the end of the ramp there coming off of 70 or 270 onto westbound 70. South 270 delays from 364 down through to almost Manchester, just a little busier through there. Southbound 55, Butler Hill, Merrimack Bottom west of 55. A rescue crash in eastbound 64, east of 157, jammed to 159. Something good is coming to St. Peter's. Able Light Thrift Shop is opening soon at 4122 Mexico Road. Now accepting donations. Grand opening is August 28th. Ribbon cutting at 8:30. Doors open at 9 a.m. Now I'm Roger Brand at the michaelsflooringoutlet.com Traffic Center.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley. Homework, streaming, gaming, and smart home devices. Life is always on, and more often than not, it's online. Keep everyone connected with fast, reliable performance from i3 Broadband's 100% fiber-to-the-home network. It supports multiple devices at the same time, so your household keeps moving. Right now, get 2 gigs for 2 years at just $65 a month. Visit i3broadband.com/radio or call 866-825-8739 today. i3 Broadband. Life runs better on fiber.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by BUSY Bank. Building community with BUSY Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, back in on Redbird Rush Hour. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. I thought it'd be fun if we took on this topic that's come up on the stream, and I think it's a fun one. This is not in any way like being nasty to any of the people, because we actually had like 3 or 4 people bring this question up in a genuine like baseball talk kind of way. So I want to frame it that way because we saw the collapse yesterday, and it was referring to the double down the line by Edmundo Sosa. And I'll pick one of them. David had a good one. David Wilhelm said, hey, I know you're a student of the game. Wouldn't you have had your third baseman near the line for Sosa's at bat? And he says, hey to you too, Bernie. Don't leave out Matt.
What about me?
David, don't leave Matt out.
No, you handle this one. Yeah. I'll be totally honest with you. I didn't get a good look at it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you guys got a better look at it than I did because my TV was going bananas. So that's anyway.
And we did, Matt and I, during the break, kind of went back and looked at the video to double check. So what's really interesting is a couple things. And I wanted to bring this up because I think it's a really fun baseball talk, okay? So the old school way of looking at this is your corner infielders, you want to be in a no double setting, right? You want to be a step and a dive from the line. That's like old school baseball wisdom. But that's old school. What happens in the modern game is more about the individual players and what they do under individual circumstances. So how does this player fare? So in this case, Edmundo Sosa, how does he fare with a pitcher like Riley O'Brien? How does he fare against velo? How does he fare against breaking balls away or whatever? So this is a lot more specific than the old school way of saying step and a dive from the line is automatic. And when you look at the play, first thing, there's 2 things that stand out. One, Riley O'Brien threw a 1-2 sweeper that was down, but it was dead center of the plate. Okay, if that pitch is away, which I'm assuming is where you want it on a 1-2 pitch, you typically don't want a breaking ball over the center of the plate, even if it's down in a 1-2. You want to swing and miss off. If the pitch is executed, it's either a swing and miss or it's a ground ball that would be right where Blaze Jordan would be standing. So we have a possibility of just missed execution on a pitch. But we also see that this is a physical limitation for Blaze Jordan. His weakness has just been lateral movement. He can really pick it. He's got good hands. His arm's been accurate. He makes the plays. But he's not exactly the quickest guy left or right. So to me, this is a much more complex thing than just why aren't you in a normal spot? And again, I'm not ripping anybody. I just think it's important that we illustrate the detail with which these things are approached in 2026. This is more than just in these scenarios you always do this. Nobody in baseball always does anything in any situation. It's entirely about the pitcher and the hitter and how those two things match up.
100%. And again, you want fielders to be positioned where they are most likely to make the play. I understand the optics of giving up a double down the line doesn't look good. The optics don't, and I'm not arguing with that.
Huh.
Every single person who saw that is saying, well, why isn't he close to the line? He was about 2 steps off the line. To get to that ball, he would have to be about 1 step off the line. But I don't want Blaze Jordan guarding the line. I want Blaze Jordan in a position where he's most likely to make the play that finishes in and out.
Right.
It didn't happen, but nobody notices positioning on plays that are made.
Right.
No, if
It's a really good point.
If you execute that
It's
play,
one of the reasons why, even given his limitations with lateral movement, he still makes a lot of plays.
Exactly, because it's where he's starting. So if Riley executes the pitch, it's rolled over to Jordan. Nobody's saying, man, what a great decision by the Cardinals to have him 2 steps off the line and not be guarding the line in a no double. Like, nobody's saying that.
Right.
So I think that's an important part.
And I think,
good breakdown.
Yeah, and I think that's the fun part of this, Bern, is we all were taught and saw things play out that way for a very long period of time. But this is, so if you want to think of it in a more generic way, it's like buying clothes off the rack versus having clothes tailored to you, right? That's the difference. Defense now is tailored to the hitter and the pitcher. What does the pitcher have? What is he good at? What does the hitter have? What is he good at? You're not just buying a coat off the rack. It's being fitted.
Yeah, defense, like everything else in the modern game, it's not standardized.
Right.
So let's throw out all the stuff that we used to cling to as sort of about baseball in general. Well, starting pitcher's he's got to go at least 7. He's got to give you 8. And like I told a guy on X the other day, I remember that 1960, 1968, 1969. And you know what else? I would love to go back to 68, 69, 1970, because gas was like 34 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
But I tell you what gas, 34 cent a gallon gas, and like Bob Gibson type pitching have in common? It ain't ever coming back, okay? So why just constantly whine about it? It's not going to change.
No, not in any kind of noticeable, meaningful way, right? You might have have outliers, right? You've got guys that do those things, but it's not the common thing, because whether you like it or not, every sport evolves. Football has evolved and changed. Basketball has evolved and changed. Hockey, baseball, you name it. It's part of the deal. That's just what happens.
And I do appreciate people that just like the game better, a couple of decades ago. Some of my fondest memories were going to the, ballpark in Memorial Stadium with my dad and watching those, Earl Weaver teams. And Earl was way ahead of his time. So he wasn't like a prisoner to all this old school stuff, but still.
Yeah.
There were some things about the game, the way it was played then, that I enjoyed a lot more than the way the game is played now. But here's the difference. The difference between me and a lot of other people my age, especially, is that I accepted things everywhere in every phase of our lives and cultures, and whether it's entertainment, whether it's sports, whether it's politics, whatever, it all evolves and changes and changes and changes. So I have no problem evolving with it and enjoying it for what it is today. Because the 1966 Orioles are not going to come back and be the 2026 Orioles.
Nope.
So let's just shut up about it.
Yeah, yes. And again, we understand it. I have preferences from the past too, but like you move into now and deal with the now separately than that. That's Bernie Miklasz.
I'd like to see your guy Bill Freehand catch.
Oh my God, I'm more of a Lance Parrish generation, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. So
it would be nice, but
move
no.
on.
That's Bernie Miklasz. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Redbird Rush Hour go until 6 o'clock, and that leads us to Sports Open Line. Speaking of keeping up with things and how things can change, and you want to have experts and people who are really going to dig in on the details, if you're looking to sell a home, I've got a name for you. Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. See, we're talking baseball here, and we're talking about how in the modern world we have all these different tools and things are much more customized in the way you do things. I'm going to tell you, Gloria's got systems like that. She's an advanced real estate agent who's working with a large database of thousands of buyers in waiting that are there. She's got systems that are proven over time to sell homes, and especially what works now, not what worked 20 years ago or 15 years ago, but what will work now. And that's why if you're looking to get the most out of your home, both in terms of the price and the ease of the process, call Gloria Liu. She is the best. She's helped thousands of families over 23 years in real estate. And in addition to all of that expertise and analysis that's going to go into the sale of your home, Gloria will give you upfront written guarantees. She will sell your home at a price and a time frame acceptable to you, or she will buy it herself. Or she'll sell your home at 100% of market value and pay you the difference if that doesn't happen. So you've got two great systems there in place to protect you on top of the database and all of this knowledge about how the system works in the modern time. Call Gloria Liu if you want the most out of your home sale. 314-325-6888. 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. And if you're looking to level up a real estate career, or someone you know is, you also want to write down that number and give Gloria a call, because she's hiring right now and looking for motivated inside sales and listings agents. So if you want to be a part of that, again, 314-325-6888. As always, Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
At 5:31, we have clouds and 79 degrees downtown at the Arch. The Trump administration preparing to revoke the business and tourism visas of up to 200,000 foreigners who have applied for or are currently seeking asylum in the United States. If it happens, the move would be the largest single mass revocation of visas in U.S. history and would likely face legal challenges. The Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision this afternoon, clears the way for President Trump to implement portions of an executive order over mail-in voting. We get the latest from ABC's Devin Dwyer.
Specific issue here were 3 different steps. One was his direction of the Department of Homeland Security to create a federal citizenship list and to distribute it to the states. Second, he asked the Attorney General with this executive order to prosecute any state official who gives a ballot to someone who is ineligible. And finally, to direct the states and the U.S. Postal Service to come up with a plan to standardize these mail ballots.
Honey, makeup, Christmas decorations, as well as hockey sticks. Those are just a few of the hundreds of different Canadian products that President Trump's administration has slapped a 50% tax to enter the United States on. The new tariffs, which kicked in Saturday, are expected to affect about $20 billion in Canadian goods. Canada will announce retaliatory tariffs against the United States on Tuesday, according to an AP source. Meanwhile, the president is moving toward imposing a new tariff on China to penalize Beijing for flooding the global market with underpriced goods. 2 people familiar with the matter say he is considering a 7.5% tariff. They spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss the yet-to-be finalized deliberations. And the UK will help Ukraine make long-range missiles by sharing classified tech information for British components. British Prime Minister Andy Burnham was in Kyiv alongside other international leaders for Ukraine's Independence Day. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk tonight, we could see some storms late, a low of 67 degrees. We could even see some pop-up storms this afternoon or this evening. For tomorrow, partly sunny, afternoon highs 85, overnight lows 70, and for Wednesday, partly sunny, warmer with a high of 90 degrees. 79 in St. Peter, 79 in Florissant, and downtown of the Arch at 79. I'm Maria Aquina, in for Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Right now, inflation is squeezing your budget. Global events are shaking markets overnight, and if you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs. This isn't the time to just hope it works out. That's why Steve Auld and the All Financial Group are hosting a complimentary educational seminar on August 27th and September 1st at Twisted Tree. Find out if your retirement strategy can survive today's economy. Rising costs, market volatility, political uncertainty, and the questions most people avoid, like could you outlive your money? When should you file for Social Security? Is your 401k carrying too much risk? This event is complimentary and you must qualify to attend. Call 636-230-8824 or visit yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. All Financial Group is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Hey, Bernie Miklasz here on behalf of Saliga Heating and Cooling, and it's always take great pride in talking about Saliga Heating and Cooling because, number one, on a personal note, you know, my wife and I have been a Saliga family for, I tell you what, we're approaching 20 years, and I can tell you about how great this Saliga family is at what they still do. And, you know, keep in mind, they have a track record that goes all the way back to 1927. One family continuously, the Saliga family, Dan Saliga in charge now. One family has continuously taken care of generations of St. Louis families. Listen, I love that story, but it's more than just a story. It's just a great accomplishment that has been earned, a great accomplishment that Saliga made happen because of their honesty, their integrity, their trustworthiness, their reliability, their knowledge, their class when they come to your home. They don't try to hustle you, talk you into something. They don't roll their eyes when you have questions. They're going to treat you with great respect, and they want you to be happy, and they want you to trust them, but they believe they got to earn it. That's what it's all about, and they've been doing it for 100 years. So you should trust Saliga because you can. They've proven that, and you should also call Saliga to get the phone number and find out about all that they do and can do for you. Just go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
And Doug.
Hot dog, get your hot dog.
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct, to the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn, get your popcorn.
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When it comes to your health, exceptional care matters. At St. Luke's, nationally recognized physicians, advanced technology, and compassionate care come together to provide an exceptional healthcare experience close to home. St. Luke's is nationally recognized for excellence across multiple specialties, including being named number 3 in the nation for cardiovascular care. Because when you need expert care, you shouldn't have to travel far to find it. St. Luke's, exceptional care, nationally recognized, right here at home. Learn more at stlukes-stl.com.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Save big on everything for your painting projects when you shop at Menards. Improve your home's curb appeal with Pittsburgh's Paramount Exterior Paint. It's a paint and primer in one that defends against dirt and grime while providing exceptional height, adhesion, and fade protection. Save big at Menards on Paramount Exterior Paint. Plus, view our weekly flyer on menards.com and check out all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
After a disaster, emotional recovery takes time. Show Me Hope Missouri is here for you with free confidential support. Counselors help with stress, coping skills, and connect to resources. If the St. Louis tornado impacted you, visit moshowmehope.org from Missouri Department of Mental Health.
It's 5 o'clock. Your employees are headed home, but you're still updating spreadsheets, switching between software, and wondering where the day went. There's a better way. Odoo brings accounting, sales, inventory, CRM, and more together in one fully integrated platform. So you spend less time managing software and more time running your business, because your workday should end eventually. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got weather-related issues. It's been raining around the area, like I mentioned earlier. So a lot of slow going. Westbound 370, you've got slow going from the Mills all the way out to the Discovery Bridge. Westbound 70 from the airport out to 270, west of 94 through Zumbel, the busiest parts on that run. Westbound 64 A lot of slow traffic again with the weather from the Science Center running all the way out through McKnight. We had an incident on the shoulder west of there, and then it's still slow approaching Lindbergh most of the way to Ballas. A backup Clarkson down the hill past Chesterfield Parkway West. Looks like we have an incident there, and then it's a solid jam at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. South 270 from 64 down through Manchester, the busiest part there. South 170 backs up south of Ladue. North 170 is kind of busy from Ladue up through Delmar, and again from 70 headed up through Airport Road. Want to talk about our USPS Ground Advantage reliable route, and I'll tell you got two of them to get into downtown. It's on the south side. The weather's not as impactful there, so eastbound 44, north 55 look great from 270 to the merge point downtown, but eastbound 64, you've got delays east of Lindbergh through the Innerbelt, and eastbound 70, they're still working this crash at O'Fallon Park. Only left lane's open. It's jammed back to Union. Eastbound 64 on the Illinois side still heavy, approaching 159. Next update at 5:50 from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Staples.
Officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
It's 5:41 in Mid-America. The time check being brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by BUSY Bank. Building community with BUSY Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour here on a Monday. First time we get the three of us back together for a while. It's been like 2 weeks because I know I was out on a Friday and went out of town, and then we had all the East Coast games yesterday. So it's good to have the three of us back together. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler. Matt, why don't you throw out there what you asked me before the show, because I think it'd be interesting to talk about with the rotation spots opening up with injuries, because Dobbins and Palante are on the injured list. Quinn Matthews takes one of those spots. But the options are kind of thin, so you asked me a question before the show about that.
Yeah, I said, do you just go get a veteran that's out? Because there's a bunch of veterans who have been released here recently, whether it's Michael Lorenzen, Zach Littell.
I thought you were going to say Miles Michaelis.
Miles Michaelis is out there, baby. Let's go. Let's reunite. No, but I mean, I think Zach Littell is the top of that list. But even, do you just bring one of those guys in to handle that fifth spot in the rotation until Dobbins and or Palante are back? To me, that's because they're not bringing Jerpy up.
Yeah.
I thought for a moment that when I keep forgetting he's a St. Louis guy. We just talked about him.
Fleming, Josh Fleming.
Josh Fleming. Yeah.
He's a Webster guy. So when they first signed him, he's been starting most of the year at AAA. Like, do they just give him a start the way they would give Schuster or Zimmerman a start?
Yeah.
But I think he pitched yesterday for Memphis, so he's not going to be ready for the next time that fifth spot comes through. So there's some dudes out there who have been starting all season long. Is it worth bringing one of those guys in, even if it's just to make one start, just to help protect the bullpen?
Wheels, the people that Matt has mentioned, is any one of them more preferable than the others? What's the deal with Zach Littell? Because a lot of people were high on him. What the heck happened to him this year?
It's a great question because if you look at like the past couple of years, he's always been kind of one of those under the radar, like bottom of the rotation stabilizers, right? So in 2025, he had a 3.81 ERA, and it was a 4.30 expected ERA. So again, not far apart, right? It was about what you would expect. He doesn't walk people. His big thing is that he's a low walk guy, and that's what changed this year a little bit with him, which is why he got knocked around. So his walk rate jumped from like 4.5, which is where it was in 24-25, to 7.2. So that for him as a contact-oriented guy that doesn't strike people out, that's a little bit of where it's gone. He's not a stud by any means, but all we're talking about is surviving maybe a time or two through the rotation without exposing someone like Cooper Jerpy, who's only throwing like 2 or 3 innings at a time because he's still recovering. He's just in the process of getting back to being healthy. I think it's an interesting question because it would seem to make sense, right? It would seem to make sense that you're like, all right, we're a little scuffling, or you just go, maybe it's just Fleming or Motts, and if Motts is not pitching well, oh well, just come up here and learn.
Yeah. What do you guys think? This is a related question. What do you guys think of Quinn Matthews so far?
A little bit of what we expected, I think, anyway. Good number of swing and miss. His first outing better than the second one, but we still see that the command is the question.
There's a lot of pitches. He's got to find a way to throw less pitches.
Well, that's the thing. In the minor leagues, when you look at his numbers, in the lower levels, nobody touched him.
Right.
He got so much chase and so much swing and miss because even when because he's got good stuff, right? When you got good stuff, young hitters are going to swing at everything. It was a lot tougher when he first got to AAA, and it took him time. And once he had that time, we saw it this year, guys. He got better. I think he's just going to need time to refine that more because most good big league hitters just won't chase a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, listen, I haven't lost like any enthusiasm for him, but it's a little frustrating to see the efficiency problems only because that's something that set him back in the minors.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I hoped for too much, but I thought, listen, it seems like he's got a handle on the problem. Come to the majors, throw more strikes. He's not, but I don't want to get all nasty about it, but man, just throw strikes, man. Just throw some strikes.
I guess
I tend to agree. I agree with you.
It's not that I disagree, Bernie, but I think it's because he was never tested until AAA, right? Like,
no, he blew through the rest of it.
He came out of Stanford, and you honestly could have just put him at double or AAA
probably
immediately after his tenure at Stanford. He was more than ready. He had no business being at single A, but that's fine. Let him check off those boxes and get there. So he gets to AAA, runs into adversity, has to deal with some things and get better. I don't think there's anything wrong with the same version of that happening when you get to the big leagues, where it's a different look from hitters. They're going to do things a little bit differently, so you adjust to it. If we're still having this conversation in April, May of next year, then it's a real thing. Yeah. But 2-3 starts into his major league career, learning what some of these really good hitters are able to do to survive at bats against you doesn't bother me. If anything, it's good experience for him.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is the swing and miss and the chase, right? If you look at his strikeout rate and his whiff rate, and again, it's very tiny sample size, but big league hitters are not swinging at things that clearly minor league hitters did, right? I mean, I think because he was striking out almost 11 per 9 at AAA this year. And, when you look at it now, it's like, his strikeout rate's in the bottom third of what you would think. I think it's like 19% strikeout rate, which, again, he's more like 30% in the minor leagues. I think that's just the difference, is he's going to have to throw more strikes and trust that his stuff's good enough. Kind of, honestly, a little Libertor vibe.
Careful.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's what you
what are you trying to turn Cardinals fans?
No, I don't mean that he's going to be him. That's just the same problem. All right, we got to take one more quick timeout. We got one more segment left. Matt Pauley, Bernie Miklasz, Kevin Wheeler with you here, and then Sports Open Line coming up after the news on KMOX.
It's a day of the week that ends in Y, and that means baseball happens today. And if you've got a feeling on who's going to hit a home run today, don't just sit on it. FanDuel wants you to call your shot with Daily Dingers. Make your pick on who's going to homer, and if you're right, you get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a shot at bigger winnings. Now, when your favorite slugger hits that walk-off, you're going to feel like a winner too. Daily Dingers on FanDuel is free to play, and you can lock in a pick every day of the season. That's why FanDuel is the home for home runs. So if you're ready to play your game, FanDuel.com/Missouri to play Daily Dingers. FanDuel.com/Missouri to make your free pick on who's going to hit a home run. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Soldiers Memorial Military Museum looks at American military history through the lens of St. Louis. From the Revolutionary War to the present day, the galleries showcase stories of local service members and delve into the city's wartime history. Outside, the Court of Honors includes monuments to those who lost their lives in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Open Wednesday through Sunday. Admission is free. Find information about special exhibits at mohistory.org/memorial. That's mohistory.org/memorial.
Want more cash? You can get a $450 bonus after your first 45 deliveries with Uber Eats. That's a $450 bonus for Samantha, who delivers by bike. $450 for Omar, who only delivers on weekends. And $450 for Joe, who's got other apps on her delivery roster. Don't worry, Joe. We're not the jealous type. No matter how you deliver, you can get a $450 bonus after your first 45 deliveries with Uber Eats. Sign up now. Complete within 14 days of sign up. Ends 11/1. Terms apply. See app for details.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got this jam on westbound Highway 64. First of all, if you're leaving the city, it's still slow from Kings Highway, and it runs all the way out through Hanley. Again, rain slowed you in that area. Still a slowdown west of McKnight, midway to Lindbergh, and between Spady and Ballas. But it's jammed approaching Clarkson. I can't see the crash near Chesterfield Parkway West, but there is a lane blocked, at least a lane, because traffic's at a standstill right now through that area approaching Clarkson, again, through Chesterfield Parkway West. Then you're still slow, Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to Highway 70. 370 west of the Mills to the Discovery Bridge is still busy. North 270, the right lane slow. Dorset to 70. Southbound there at the Rock Road. Eastbound 70, heavy at our city. Westbound 70 is kind of slow at the Rock Road. They cleared that incident eastbound 70 at O'Fallon Park. Now there's just a couple of slowdowns east of there, headed through St. Louis Avenue, so much better. North 170, 70 up to Airport Road's heavy. South 170 backs up at the Parkway. If you're on southbound 270, from 64 down through Manchester is busy, and on the Illinois side, eastbound 64 still backed up midway up the hill from 157 to 159. Next update at 559 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by BUSY Bank. Building community with BUSY Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, about 5 minutes left here on Redbird Rush Hour, and then we got Sports Open Line after the news. You want to tease anything on Sports Open Line?
Jim the Cat Hayes is going to be
Jimmy
on today.
Hayes.
6:20. We'll do.
Jimmy.
We'll talk some golf, which is kind of a recap of what went down in Belle Reve over the weekend. Really cool for St. Louis. I think St. Louis showed very, very well. So yeah, that's going to be our own Matthew Rocchio is going to pop on for a moment because City SC keeps doing weird things.
Winning.
They're winning, but they're losing the players that everybody knows.
I know.
Yeah, so
very,
we'll talk
very
about
bizarre
that.
circumstance. All right. Back to cards here. Bernie, Matt had an interesting question he wanted to raise for all of us. Just I don't know if it's a big question, but it's just more of an observation of what we're dealing with again, playing with a short roster.
Well, yeah, every time Mason Wynn gets injured, they start doing wacky things where they don't put him on the injured list. Then all of a sudden they put him in as a defensive replacement, so you can't retroactive, any sort of IL stint. And it's checking him out every day. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? He has the jam thumb. They had to take an at bat the other day where he just couldn't swing. He was just told to sit there and basically take.
I think he did swing once though.
Yeah, he swung once. I don't think he was supposed to. We've seen this before with Wynn. I don't know what it is about Mason Wynn injury specifically, but anytime he gets injured, it feels like the Cardinals kind of lose themselves in terms of just get the guy on the IL, let him sit for 10 days, and stuff will be better on the other side.
How many times are we going to have to talk about this? It never ends.
Apparently a lot more.
And the thing of it is the Cardinals have had, and by the way, I really want to preface this real quick. I'm not suggesting like Mason Wynn's not tough or something. Not at all.
No.
It's the exact opposite. But in their history, their recent history, they've had one guy in particular, the catcher, Molina, who played with like some unspeakably horrible injuries where, you wonder, like, what is he doing? He shouldn't even be on the field, yet he could function well. The one time he got hit in the groin area, he had to miss like 3 weeks because they had to remove something, if you catch my drift. But that was about it. I mean, he played in a great deal of pain his whole career, and it didn't affect his work, but not, so I hope the Cardinals aren't looking at that and thinking that applies to a Mason Wynn or anybody else, because it doesn't.
No. Too often we compare, like, I'm going to use pedestrian just in the world, that in the sense that they could be all-star caliber players, but the things that a Molina or a Pujols did, like, that was unhuman. It's not supposed.
Nobody is Yachty, man. That guy's crazy.
So then when things happen to guys who are just like really high level athletes who also are just normal human beings, and they're like, well, Yachty did this, well, Albert did, like, no, just that's not the comparison.
I mean, they called Yachty El Marciano for a reason. He's a Martian. He's an alien, man. Like, he's different.
So what do they? So this thing's going to drag on the rest of the season. Then that's what you're telling me.
I hope not. But yeah, I mean, it is a fact. I see this in other teams too. I mean, it's we notice it with the Cards because they're the Cards and we're there every day. And I do see other teams do this stuff too, where you'd rather play short than just take the extra. Let's say it's an extra 5 days. maybe you'd only miss 5 or 6, but you could still take those extra 5 days and just relax. If you were like in first place, maybe I feel differently. Yeah. You know, it's a weird thing.
I agree. And listen, the last time I checked, and granted, it was probably about a week to 10 days ago, but Thomas Saggese was hitting down there.
Yeah. Good point.
What? You're gonna ruin your club by bringing him up for 10 days? Are you kidding me?
Having JJ at short, yeah.
You know, how many times have they run Cesar Prieto up here? You can't bring Saggese up here. What did he do? What did he do wrong? I mean, he's hitting again. He didn't hit up here. I don't know.
All right, so we only have 30 seconds. So this is really a yes or no. Do you think it's because of Gold Glove stuff? Because I think he's got enough in the tank already to win a Gold Glove.
I think last year it was a little bit. I don't think it is this year. I don't know what it is this year, but no.
Okay. I would still say yes.
Okay. There we go.
I'm not saying you're wrong, Paulie. I'm just saying I would say yes.
I have no problem being told.
But if I say maybe, then we're all tied, right?
There you go.
All right, boys, have a good night. Bernie, have a good night. Matt, have a good show. Sports Open Line is coming up next on KMOX.
Most sellers put their home on the market and just wait to see what happens. This is Debbie Monterey. I'm with Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria, is there a better way to sell?
There is. Instead of listing your home the traditional way and hoping for the right buyer, I can get you up to 8 competitive cash offers right from the start. That means you're not guessing what your home might sell for. You're looking at the real offers and choosing the one that works the best for you. It also helps you to set the right price and create stronger demand if you decide to go to market. It gives you control, leverage, and a clear path forward before you accept just any offer. And remember, I'll guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Before you sell your home, see what your options are. Call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. That's gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where supplies start at just 25 cents?
Staples has the latest laptops with up to 40% savings.
I may hug the cashier.
So embarrassing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples with up to 40% off select tech. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire. At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
The 3-2 pitch with the runner going a swing.
Ready to elevate your game? Join the NBA Sportscasters Forum on Tuesday, September 15th in St. Louis. Learn from Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and Hall of Famer John Rooney as they break down play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and covering the game. Then cap off the day with the Cardinals versus Giants at Busch Stadium. Step into the booth, sharpen your skills. Go to KMOX.com/events for details and registration. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, westbound 64 is still at a standstill. I think we'll call it west of Timberlake now through Clarkson. The crash near Chesterfield Parkway West. They say only the right lane is blocked, but traffic is not moving at all. So I'm not sure if that's the truth right now. It may be they may have had to block additional lanes maybe to clear that crash. So just be advised, westbound 64 is a pretty solid jam right there because of it. If you're traveling on westbound 64 coming out of the city, it looks a lot better. It's just a little slow west of Hampton out through McCausland, eastbound 64, 170 to Big Bend heavy, southbound 170 backs up south of the Parkway. If you're on Highway 70, just a little heavy traffic coming off those 270 ramps, westbound 64 Prospect, eastbound 64 backed up east of 157. For the Michaels FlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
On mail-in voting to proceed, ABC's Devin Dwyer says it does not specifically endorse any restrictive steps argued in courts by the states.
This is direction of the Department of Homeland Security to create a federal citizenship list and to distribute it to the state. He asked the Attorney General with this executive order to prosecute any state official who gives a ballot to someone who is ineligible. For now, the president can move forward with building that citizenship list, threatening state officials with prosecution, and working with the Postal Service for how states have to print their ballots.
The U.S. and Canada locked in a back and forth on tariffs. Canada says it will put tariffs on American goods in September in place after the U.S. imposed 50% hikes on a variety of Canadian imports. Northwest of Reno, fire crews wrangling a wildfire. The Hawk Fire is now 27% contained. This is ABC News. The Lindsay Clancy trial in Massachusetts nearing its conclusion. Prosecutors are calling rebuttal witnesses. The jury will continue to hear testimony tomorrow. Clancy is accused of deliberately killing her 3 children. Back in 2023, defense attorneys claim she suffered from postpartum psychosis. Here's ABC's Peter Haralambous.
Prosecutors have a lot to sum up here. In total, with these rebuttal witnesses, 74 different witnesses over the course of more than 4 weeks that they're going to have to concisely summarize for all of these jurors. And then also another thing is this charge conference. How is the judge going to instruct the jury on the law in this case? How should they interpret the law, especially considering about how complex this case has become? That jury charge is really going to be critical for this jury to begin their deliberations.
Severe heat continuing in western states. In California's Death Valley National Park, a French tourist died when the car he was in got stuck in the mud, and he set out to walk with his traveling companion. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
At 6:02, we have clouds and 75 degrees downtown of the Arch. I'm Maria Kina, in for Michael Calhoun. The city of St. Louis will end the COVID-era water bill moratorium at the end of the month. However, for residents in the tornado impact area, new relief options are available. Director of Public Utilities, Niraj Patel, says a steep discount for water bills incurred since that tornado last year is one of the relief options.
Retroactive credit of up to 50%, enabling that rate backwards to May 16th, but then also providing it through December of 2028.
Patel says homes that were condemned or unlivable can now receive full forgiveness for debts incurred after the tornado. As KMOX first reported today, new developments in the efforts to remove St. Louis County Executive Dr. Sam Page from office for allegedly violating the county charter.
We want to make sure that we're using the taxpayer resources as well as we can. And quos tend to take a while.
Attorney General Catherine Hanaway saying there isn't enough time or overwhelming evidence to force Page out ahead of the end of his term, effectively killing the effort to remove the county executive for allegedly working as a paid anesthesiologist while serving in office.
We don't have all the records that we need. It has been difficult to put that case together.
Page, in response, says there was never a legal foothold to remove him with a quo warranto, and he is glad the Attorney General is no longer spending time on it. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
An early morning death on Interstate 55 leads St. Louis police to a second body. Investigators believe the pedestrian struck and killed on the highway fell from the Utah overpass. While searching for cameras in the area, they discovered another body in a nearby home in the 3300 block of South 9th Street. Police spokesperson Sergeant Sean Mazzola.
It's unclear if these two are related at this point, but that is going to be part of our investigation as it's still in the very early hours.
Mazzola says the body was discovered after the door of a Soulard home was found open. Illinois State Police are investigating an officer-involved shooting that includes both a Granite City police officer and a Madison County sheriff's deputy. Both Granite City Police and Madison County deputies responded to the 2000 block of Edison for reports of an armed suspect after 10 this morning. When they arrived, investigators say the suspect did not drop his weapons as ordered. That's when the police officer and the deputy each shot the suspect. He was transported to the hospital in critical but stable condition. WashU medicine researchers are thrilled the FDA has cleared a blood test developed from technology they developed to aid in diagnosing Alzheimer's disease. KMOX health editor Fred Bonnemer.
WashU medicine neurologist and Alzheimer's researcher Dr. Randy Bateman says this test is intended for adults as young as 40 years of age who present with signs or symptoms of cognitive impairment and may benefit from early diagnosis.
A patient can receive the blood test, get the results. The doctor and the patient can, with the family, can look at these test results, and it can help confirm a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease or indicate if it's not Alzheimer's disease, should other things be looked at, should other causes of dementia be looked at.
The test is called Procivity AD2, and it can detect amyloid plaque biomarkers with over 90% accuracy, offering a less invasive alternative to spinal taps and brain scans. It's expected to be available later this year. Fred Bonnemer, KMOX News.
At 6:05, let's see how your commute's looking. Let's head to the KMOX Traffic Center with Roger Brand.
Well, it's pretty good for almost everybody except for 64 drivers. Maria, to wrap it up, this traffic report's a service of I-3 Broadband. We've still got this crash, although it looks like traffic's moving better, but the right lane's still closed, westbound 64, but as you get down into the floor of the valley, so it's westbound 64 west of Chesterfield Parkway West, the jam goes back pretty solid almost to Timberlake, so just be prepared, but it does look like traffic's moving better now than it was 10 minutes ago. Westbound 64 a little slow. West of McKnight, we had an incident on the shoulder there. South 170 is kind of busy at the U Club Tower. Eastbound 64 past Hanley looks a little busy. And then on the Illinois side, we still have this road work back up. Eastbound 64, it's still pretty congested east of 157, most of the way up to 159. I'm Roger Brand at the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
And from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we want to get the latest on our weather forecast. It looks like we could see actually a few showers here and there this evening. Dave Murray has our forecast, how it's going to look throughout the rest of the week, and that's coming up in just 1 second here. We're trying to have a little difficulty here with Dave's forecast, but there we go. We've got it right here.
It's been another delightful day for the month of August across St. Louis, and this is going to continue. But the trend as we go through the week, it's going to get a little bit warmer, but nothing extreme. Partly cloudy skies tonight. I'm going to keep a chance of a spot thunder shower late tonight. It's going to be very hard to find. 67 for the low. On Tuesday, partly to mostly sunny skies. 85 should do it for the high, still comfortable. Tuesday night, partly cloudy, 70. Wednesday, partly sunny. Let's warm it up to about 90 degrees on Wednesday afternoon. A very weak cool front is coming by Wednesday night. Wednesday night will be clear and 70. So it's a touch cooler, not by much. Thursday and Friday, sunny and 88 degrees. And right now, long range, I'm thinking about 90 to 95 for high temperatures over the weekend. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It certainly is cooled down in St. Peter's at 70 degrees, Florissant 75, and downtown at the Arch at 75 degrees. I'm Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, here we go. Welcome in. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name's Matt Pauley. Great to have you with us today. Matthew Rocchio is here as well. We've got you for the next couple hours, and glad to be able to spend some time with you on an evening where there is no Cardinals baseball. Cardinals get the off day today. Pitching absolutely needs the off day, and we'll see what it looks like here moving forward. They're going to welcome in the Baltimore Orioles for a 3-game series that will begin tomorrow. As always, if you want to chime in on what we're talking about, you can call or text 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. Generally better to text, as we can, sprinkle in a text message here, text message there. But we try every once in a while to have some segments where we really lock in on the phones. Not sure if we'll get that today. We've got a couple guests that are going to be coming up on the program. And also, but you can always, for those of you watching on the video stream, feel free to comment on that, and we will address some of those comments as we go along through the program as well. Here is what we have planned for today. From a guest perspective, we're going to talk with Jim the Cat Hayes, from Cardinals at TV and also from Cardinal Territory, the podcast that he does with a number of folks, including Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. That's going to be coming up here in about 10 minutes or so. Dan Reardon is going to join us at 6:35. We'll talk about the BMW Championship. We'll talk a little bit about the golf, but I want to talk more about how great St. Louis looked once again, hosting a major sporting event and what it means for professional golf in St. Louis moving forward. And I mentioned Matthew Rocchio. He's our producer today. He's also going to be our guest during the 7:05 segment. Going to talk some City SC soccer with him. Man, they just keep winning. They keep winning. That's great. It's awesome. Love that they keep winning. Love that it feels like there's a direction, but they also keep losing players that you've heard of. Like, hey, I know that guy, not here anymore. Oh, I know that guy, not here anymore. Well, why aren't they here anymore? So we'll go through all of that with Matthew. And then something we like to do on Mondays, on the rare times that we do have Monday shows, we like to be able to go back through what Chaim Bloom says to Tom Ackerman during Sports on a Sunday Morning and play back some of the cuts on that. And I'll give you my thoughts on some of what was said. So we'll do that in the 7 o'clock hour as well. I want to just touch on something. I was a little bit frustrated about the reaction from, I think it's a vocal minority. I think most people understand, but I do think it needs to be addressed in a very direct manner, because maybe there's some people out there that just don't completely understand the motivation. And if you don't understand the motivation on this, not to be a jerk about it, but I feel like you're not paying attention, because I think the Cardinals have been really, really clear in why they're doing something and what the plan is moving forward. And that is specifically with Kyle Leahy and the innings, or the lack thereof of innings that he is throwing. Yesterday, he went 4 innings, gave up just 2 hits. He is not allowed to run in his last 2 outings. He has a 1.42 ERA in the month of August. That followed in the month of July, where he had a 1.38. He is, by many metrics, the best pitcher in the National League since the calendar turned to July. I wouldn't say he's the best pitcher in the National League. I said he is, by many metrics, the best pitcher in the National League, specifically when you look at ERA and some other things. So, why? Why are they doing what they're doing? Why are they? Because many Cardinals fans would tell you that the Cardinals are intentionally shooting themselves in the foot, intentionally giving them less of an opportunity to win games by what they're doing with Kyle Leahy. And I realize that there's a lot of people who simply don't want to hear what I'm about to say. And that's fine. That's fine. But I'm going to say it nonetheless, because there are some people who do want to hear it, and there's some people that need to be reminded of it. And I've said this a million times, so my apologies to the people who have heard me say this before and know the words that are about to come out of my mouth. But after the reaction that I saw after yesterday's 4-inning outing, to me, this seems like something that needs to be brought up again. If you really increase a pitcher's workload from one year to the next, and there's a line that you do not want to cross, where if you cross it, you are exponentially increasing the possibility for major injury the next year. And there are a lot of people out there that just want to ignore that. They want no part in acknowledging that. And I guess I would say, let's go to like an alternate universe. And that doesn't guarantee him health next year. He could still get injured next year. I'm not saying the opposite. But let's go to an alternate universe where they don't take the foot off the pedal, and he shows up to spring training, and 2 starts into spring training, blows out his elbow, blows, forearm issues, whatever, and all of a sudden needs Tommy John surgery and is out for the year. And we're all sitting here going, well, this could have been avoided. It's the numbers are out there. The math is out there. If you increase workload by too much, you are asking for major injury. And there's so many people out there who just want to ignore that and accept that, hey, you know what? Hey, if he gets injured next year, I know this isn't what you're saying overtly, but this is what you're saying subconsciously. If he gets injured next year, so be it. If he gets injured next year, who cares? We need to get that extra inning or extra 2 innings out of him here in a year where it's still somewhat unlikely that the Cardinals are a playoff team. Matthew Rocchio.
What do you say to the people who understand that thought process but simply disagree with employing it on a 29-year-old who hasn't hit arbitration yet?
I think he's still a big part of the club's future, and I wouldn't want to be supporting an organization that doesn't care for their players, that has no regard for that. And
but he's a guy who you have to move into the bullpen at the end of a season because he's hitting an innings cap. Doesn't that potentially put a little bit of a ceiling on what he can be for you in the future?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you do that. Did Steven Strasburg have a limit? Now, it's not an apples to apples because he's much younger and he was a phenom. I understand that. Whenever I have flawed comparisons, I like pointing out the flaws at the beginning, but I don't think just running a guy to a point where you're saying, okay, he's as far as we want to push him for this year. I don't think that limits what you do the next year on him. I don't.
My thing on the Strasburg comparison has nothing to do with their talent level. It does have to do with the fact that Strasburg didn't exactly have a very long career.
Yeah, sometimes I do wonder if would have the Nationals done any of that. Would have the Nationals tried to do more what the Cardinals are doing with Leahy, where instead of just yank him out, tried to actually nurse him through? Would have that been the better call for the Nationals?
That's a good question.
Maybe. And I don't know if that changes anything in terms of his career moving forward.
But it's the kind of stuff that they are having to think about. And while we might not agree with the thought process, we have to acknowledge the fact that these are the kind of conversations and questions the Cardinals are asking themselves, and that's what leads to this decision making.
Yeah, and I don't want to throw a guy to Tommy John surgery to try to get a few extra. And again, there's no guarantee that would happen. I am understanding of what the Cardinals are doing, and I'm in favor of what the Cardinals are doing. And I think people who are just very dismissive of it, your question, Rocchio, legitimate question. There's a lot of people out there that are just completely throwing away the fact that there is a reason behind it, and that's where I get a little bit frustrated. We'll talk with Jim Hayes. He comes up in just a moment or so from Cardinals TV and also Cardinal Territory podcast. He's with us in just a moment as we do roll on on this edition of a Graybar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. In a clinical study, Eliquis, apixaban, reduces stroke risk and has less major bleeding than warfarin.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Ask your doctor about the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner, Eliquis.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Is life insurance still on your list from earlier this year? Now is the perfect time to just get it done. A buddy told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I added this to my list this year and got it done. I called SelectQuote and was shocked at how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $18 a month. My wife's also 40, and her $5,000 policy was only $16 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, no medical exam was required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Checking this off my list felt great, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-280-5858 for your free quote today. That's 1-800-280-5858. Or go to selectquote.com. That's 1-800-280-5858. Details on example rate at selectquote.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Lose weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis guaranteed, or your money back, only $59.99. Hypnosis Thursday, September 17th, Radisson Hotel, Fairview Heights. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking Hypnosis 8 p.m. Or Saturday, September 19th, Holiday Inn Creve Coeur. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking Hypnosis 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
100 years, one legendary voice. We live KMOX's century of service, classic audio, photos, videos, and more at KMOX100.com.
It's a Great Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX, taking you till 8 o'clock this evening. No Cardinals baseball tonight, but they are back at it tomorrow. They're back home. So if you're watching it on TV, that means you'll once again see Jim Hayes doing everything that Jim does during the Cardinals TV broadcast. You also hear him on the Cardinals Territory podcast that he does with a number of folks, including Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. It's a great listen. It's always great to hear, not that it's not great to hear Jim, but being able to hear him ask the questions to a couple guys who just got done playing recently. It's very cool to hear how really current players think about things. So if you're not checking out the Cardinal Territory podcast, I don't know what you're doing. So let's welcome Jim Hayes onto the program right now. Hey, Jim, how are you?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm glad to be able to talk with you, and we'll see you over the next few days at Busch Stadium. What's your take? You've seen so much. This team continues to stick around, but then they have low moments, and this weekend was a low moment against the Phillies. Do you put any extra value or definition to it, or is it just a 3-game series where things did not go well, and we'll see what they do coming back?
No, it was a Philly beatdown. It was as low as you can get. But the thing about this ball club is every time, and they've had other low points where you think, all right, that's about it, and they always seem to punch back. These are a bunch of young guys that play with pride, play with energy, don't win every single game, but certainly overreaching some people's expectations. So I never count them out, though things look gloomy right now. But again, every time you think they're down for the count, they get up and they throw a punch. So we'll have to wait and see.
That's what happened in the 9th inning yesterday, and you just feel terrible for Riley O'Brien. He's been really good. He's been a great Cardinal this year, and he's been an all-star. But you feel bad for a guy when he just didn't have it. He had a bad day yesterday, and to see 6 runs go up against him at about the snap of a finger, I think the first thing Ollie said yesterday, and I think it's true, you just feel bad that he went through that.
Yeah, and I felt bad for me, too, because I'm walking around like the fair in St. Charles. I got my phone. I'm watching the score like a good fan. Run into a bunch of Cardinal fans. We're talking about the game. They're up 4-0. Last I looked, they were up 4-0, and there were 2 outs. And then I got distracted by a brat or something. I don't know. I go back to my phone. Final, 6-4. They lose. A shocker. But, look, every closer knows that there's going to be bad ones. You know, Jason Isringhausen used to say, not my first rodeo. And Riley O'Brien, though he's 31, he's not a kid, this is really his first full year closing games. And there's a lot of psychology that goes into it. I did a sit down with him during the last homestand where he explained a lot of that is just believing in yourself. I think he's to a point where there's been so much good. What does he have? 31 saves. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he had a down period, then he bounced back. I think he'll get through this and be fine. His stuff is just nasty. But even talking to Dusty Blake, it's like a lot of it is convincing young guys, your stuff plays here, go out and get them. So we'll have to see about it. But there's no question the Cardinals are in a tough spot. The bullpen's been beat up, and now they got a starting rotation situation that they're going to have to figure out. But I'm going to say this, Matt. I always say this about you, by the way. To me, you're one of the most rational voices, on social media, on radio, TV. I think you make a lot of sense, and I think you would agree with this. Look, it's a rebuilding year. We've known that, right? And even though they were ahead of where people thought they'd be and there was a shot for the wild card, and they still might get the wild card, we knew that this team had some rough spots in it. It has some weaknesses. There's no question. And a lot of times they kind of got to play a perfect game to beat really good teams, and they've done plenty of that. But it's a rebuilding year, and the main thing that they're focused on, they're trying to win every game, don't get me wrong, but they're replenishing their minor league system with the most valuable commodity in baseball, and that is controllable young talent, especially pitchers. And no one could look at that stock minor leagues and say they're not in position to win in the future. And I kind of understand that's what this season's about. And I think the Cardinals have been, and Chaim Bloom have been fairly transparent about that.
Is there value in that moment of trying to allow Riley to work through it? Because Ollie did go out there, and when he went out there, I was wondering, is he gonna pull Riley? Is he gonna go to Gordon Graceffo? And Ollie made the decision that this was Riley's game to win or lose. He was gonna live and die with his all-star closer. Even in a moment where it did not go well, is that something that you want a young guy to even be able to experience, trying to get out of that situation? Obviously, it did not go well for Riley.
To me, it's a double-edged coin. Is there value in leaving him in and it doesn't go well, or is there value in taking him out? You're our closer, and you don't have it today, so we're taking you out. We don't think you can get through it. It's just not a good situation either way, but certainly it's one to grow on for O'Brien, to be able to tough through it and realize that there's going to be games. Look, he wasn't a disaster. He wasn't walking the bases loaded. He gave up. Don't get me wrong, the ball to Schwarber seemed hittable, but it wasn't like he was off the charts bad. They hit him, a pretty good hitting team, especially a couple of guys in that lineup that always seem to beat up on the Cardinals, including Sosa. But I don't know, if there's what can be learned from that, except that's part of the job is sometimes you're going to get beat. And I think Riley O'Brien, just talking to him a bunch lately, I just think he's matured a lot, and he does believe in himself, and I think he'll bounce back. So maybe this is one to grow on for him.
As you've spent this year talking, multiple times a week with Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn, as they've watched this thing play out and a team exceed expectations, play games that matter in a year where that wasn't the expectation, is there anything that they've said to you that's maybe really struck a chord where they see this in a really unique way?
Well, Lance Lynn, both those guys are really smart, but Lance Lynn said it to me a couple of times early, and damn if it doesn't come true within a game or two. Baseball evens things out. Okay, so even when they were playing, even better than people expected, you knew at some point it was going to revert to the mean. But both those guys, I can tell you, they played with a lot of these guys, have the ultimate respect for the talent on this team. Although I think early on they were wondering aloud, what if you didn't get rid of all those guys and kept one or two? Maybe you'd be in a better position to also build for the future, but also try to climb through any window of opportunity for this year. But both those guys have been really supportive of Ollie. They talked about his ability to relate to players, to the media, to former players. So there's a lot of praise that those guys throw out, just not generally in my direction where they seem to treat me like a piñata every episode.
We're talking with Jim Hayes. This team, for the first time in a long time, dealing with starting pitching injuries. Andre Palante is going to be out for a turn or two. We still don't know what the prognosis is going to be on Hunter Dobbins. There's two things here. A, they have to work through what the rotation is going to look like with those guys not available. But B, it's a good opportunity to really acknowledge the fact that they've done a nice job of keeping starters healthy for a really, really long time.
Yeah, and there's times where it's like, oh, they're going to push back this guy a day, and whatever they do, it has worked out. It's kept them healthy. Now, you could say maybe there's luck. I don't know. I just know that these guys know what they're doing. They know better than I do. I mean, these guys chart everything physically. I mean, from heart rates to sweat rates. I mean, they monitor sweat rates. So these guys know better than me, and you can't argue with the results. They've kept the rotation healthy, and so to have two starters go down, and Quinn Matthews just got pounded around by a pretty, vaunted lineup by the Phillies. But they got to figure out and piece this together the rest of the way, and I'm curious to see how they do it. I do know that a lot of people were questioning Libby, who's been okay in his last couple starts. Both those guys were saying that this is Libby's opportunity, and if they were Libby, they'd want Dusty or Ollie to come and say, "Look, you're getting 100 pitches every start now because we need you." And they said we'd love to hear that, but we're going to find out a lot about what they have left in the cabinet now.
We just got a comment, Jim, from one of our listeners, Holy Wheat Germ, that says, "I miss hearing Jim Hayes on the radio."
Well, he's the one, and it's probably one of my relatives that are calling into the show. Yeah, I miss being on the radio, but things change, and I'll tell you, doing the podcast 3 times a week with those guys. So we do with Cardinal Territory, we do Lance, Kyle, once in a while Matt Holliday, and then like a media guy like yourself or a former Cardinal. So it's 3 times a week. That's plenty of me, I think.
We can always get more Jim Hayes. I would push back on that a little bit, Jim. We can always get more, but that's still a heavy workload, and I really do. I mean, I think you do a great job working with those guys, but it's one of the few mediums out there where you've got people who were, former players who were just, Matt Adams is out there a little bit in the media, and I know he'll pop on with you guys on every once in a while, but it just doesn't seem like there's a big avenue right now for former Cardinals to have a big platform, especially former Cardinals who were just recently getting done playing.
Yeah, and guys with something to say.
Yeah.
And, the truth is, if and you and I probably can't relate to this, but if you have what the kids call the bag, I'm talking about a bag full of millions of dollars, you probably don't want to travel a lot anymore, or maybe you don't want to fill in here. And you owe your wife and kids time too, for all the years you've been away. So I think it's sort of a thing that they have to manage. And for them, I think doing this podcast, though, for me, sometimes it's like herding cats. Oh, I can't do it today. Can we do it tomorrow? I get it. But I think this is a manageable amount of time for them. But I agree with you. These guys are not only engaged, still know guys, still have sources, but they have something to say. And like with Lance and Kyle, they're not afraid of saying it. And Kyle was we were talking about kind of what we're talking about now, about the fans who wanted the rebuild. And we all know it's a rebuild, no matter what you call it. And the Cardinals have done a nice job of rebuilding the minor league system. And now they're mad that they're not in a wild card spot. Well, it's tough to get it both ways, right? And so Kyle was kind of chastising them a little bit. But we understand, certainly I do, and those guys too, especially Lance, who spent a lot of years in St. Louis, that Cardinal fans are used to winning. Cardinal fans know their baseball, and Cardinal fans want to see a winning product on the field. I get that. And as I said on the podcast, look, you can't pigeonhole any group of people. You can't say Cardinal fans feel this way. Cardinal fans, there's a lot of opinions amongst Cardinal fans. I do know that they love their team. I think that's the common thread that ties it all together. And some fans wanted to see a push into the postseason, and I certainly understand that. But I think the Cardinals, as I said, have been pretty transparent. This is a rebuild.
They have been. Everything that they've said basically has come true, and I think the transparency deserves a lot of credit. Jim the Cat Hayes, he's part of Cardinals TV. You'll see him on the broadcast this weekend with the team being back home. You need to be listening to the Cardinal Territory podcast. It's available wherever you get your podcast. You can also watch the video version. That's on YouTube, at Card Territory on Twitter if you need more details on that. Jim, always appreciate you taking some time with us. We'll see you at the ballpark over the next few days.
Always a pleasure, Matt. Thank you.
All right, very good. That is Jim the Cat Hayes from Cardinals TV and also from Cardinal Territory. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll switch gears a little bit. What a great opportunity for the St. Louis, the city of St. Louis, to just show out in the biggest way to the entire country with the BMW Championship at Belle Reve this weekend. Dan Reardon was there for every moment of it. We'll talk with him coming up in just a moment. This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
We don't just cover St. Louis. We share it. That's why the stories you hear every morning aren't just headlines. They're about your neighborhood.
Ferguson's police chief took the stand in day one of
your roads.
Westbound 270 North County just had some volume on
your Cardinals.
Riley O'Brien strikes out the side in the 9th inning.
Your community.
I'm Tom Ackerman.
This is Debbie Monterey.
I'm Megan Lynch.
Total Information AM. Weekdays on KMOX.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but I switched to Pure Talk over a year ago, and ever since, I've been telling people there's no better wireless company out there. Well, a few months ago, a massive survey was conducted. 123,000 people were asked to rate their wireless carrier in 4 categories: coverage, support, data, and overall value. Well, the results are in. Guess which wireless company was the only wireless company to get 5 stars in every category? Yeah, Pure Talk. 5 stars, every category. To celebrate, Pure Talk is offering the first 3 months of any plan for just $15 a month, including their top-tier unlimited plan. No contract, no commitment, just a very inexpensive way to test drive the only American wireless company with 5 stars in every category. Just dial pound 250, say micro, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service will take it from there. Again, pound 250 micro. And yes, I told you
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When it comes to your health, having knowledge is powerful, as they say. And so if you could better understand what your risk was for chronic disease before you even have that first symptom, how powerful would that be? Siteman Cancer Center's Your Disease Risk, and that's what it's called, Your Disease Risk, provides personalized insights to help you understand factors that might increase or decrease your risk for chronic disease and cancer, whether that is environmental, whether it is genetic. With easy-to-understand information and prevention guidance, Siteman will help you take those meaningful steps toward a healthier future. Just a few minutes today could make a difference for years to come. Siteman.washu.edu/YDR. Siteman.washu.edu/YDR.
Hey, this is Kevin Wheeler, and I want to tell you about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores, and you can find a location at supplementsuperstores.com. Look, Burn Balance Complex is different, okay? It's a game changer. It is a complete, all-natural metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. If you're someone that doesn't want to get a prescription, if you don't want to go get injections, Burn Balance Complex can get your metabolism rocking the way that it's supposed to, and you notice it really early on because you start to notice clothes are fitting a little differently. You're seeing results, which then kind of gives you motivation to keep on going, right? Well, on top of the metabolism boost, you're also going to notice reduced stress with lower cortisol levels, appetite and craving control, which is absolutely critical to staying on a plan, plus all-day focused energy, no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. And look, it's not magic. You got to do the work, but Burn Balance Complex has made that work so much easier for me. It'll do the same for you. So get out to Supplement Superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off right then and there. And you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Life's always on and online. From homework to streaming and deliveries. i3 Broadband 100% fiber keeps everyone connected. Visit i3broadband.com/radio or call 1-866-825-8739 today. i3 Broadband. Life runs better on fiber. Service availability varies by address. Visit i3broadband.com for details.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line, presented in part by St. Luke's Hospital, St. Louis's #1 heart hospital on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Over 155,000 people made it through Belle Reve over the weekend for the BMW Championship once again. St. Louis showed out in the biggest of ways for big sporting events and in the biggest of ways for the sport of golf, as the BMW Championship was this weekend. I'll tell you what, we are so blessed to have Dan Reardon as part of the team here at KMOX. He's been here a very long time. There's very few people who can talk about golf the way he does, and he was out there covering all weekend long. He joins us right now via the Quiver River Electric guest line. Dan, I don't even have a question for you to start. Just as you reflect upon the last 4 days, what stands out to you the most about this BMW Championship at Belle Reve?
Well, Matt, if you talk about the galleries, I will admit that in 2018, everybody knew that championship was something different, and the energy and everything was just off the charts. And I always said about that PGA Championship, that wasn't a PGA Championship. That was a Tiger Championship, because that was his crowd. That was his gallery. And so I had my concerns, maybe, or doubts, what they would get when you're not playing a major as it's a PGA Tour event, and Tiger is not in the field. So to then see what the actual turnout is, and to know that they sold out both Saturday and Sunday, I would say I'm pleasantly surprised, because I didn't anticipate that. And one of the things people should know who watched it on television, the build-out, which is the boxes, the carpet areas around the golf course, as play goes on Sunday, as they go back by the bleacher on 3 or the bleacher on 4 or the tent on 5, those areas empty out, and they join the parade going to the back 9. So when we get to the final 3 holes, when we get to 16, when we get to 17, and I'm picturing what we saw on 18, you're seeing those numbers. I could picture them dropping the ropes and letting the spectators come down the fairway and approach the green a little bit, like they do in the Open Championship. And I thought those shots were spectacular. And it's an unfair comparison, but I think in the numbers wise, it's a fair comparison. The last time I saw something like that was Tiger in 2019, when he won the Tour Championship, not the FedEx Cup, but the Tour Championship, and they did the same thing on that par 5 18th hole. It was that same kind of image. So I think the images were great, and that's, I guess, what stands out in my mind.
What's the impact of that for St. Louis, for golf in St. Louis, where this was a really special weekend, and I think that played out on TV well?
It reaffirms with the people who make the decisions that we are a genuine destination. How that plays out is a little bit problematic, because I'm pretty sure the membership at Belle Reve is happy with this interval kind of arrangement. Realize the last time I talked about was 2018, the PGA Championship, and I don't think the BMW was announced till like 2002. And now we know in 2030, the President's Cup, which will be a very different event in terms of the number of players that we're talking about. But I don't think Belle Reve is looking, if somebody came to Belle Reve and said, we'd like to put a PGA Tour event in St. Louis, would you host it? I think their membership would decline. That doesn't mean there isn't somebody in St. Louis who might want to do that. And I have a crazy idea, which I won't go into, where something like that could happen. But all it does is it keeps us in the conversation. The BMW will continue to rotate. I know their last announced destination is 2029. They're going to Olympia Fields in Chicago, and nothing is booked beyond that. So if Belle Reve is saying we're going to have the President's Cup here in 2030, let's bring BMW back in 2023. That's a possibility. But it's a long way to answer your question, but I think that's where it all stands.
Yeah, and I hear people say sometimes, and I don't want to get too into the weeds on this, but I hear people say sometimes, okay, St. Louis is going to support the big golf events that are kind of more one-offs, but would the community support an annual event? And it would probably have to be somewhere else, to the point that you're just making. Do you think at any point in time it would be worth people coming together and maybe doing feasibility on whether or not St. Louis could be hosting an annual PGA Tour event?
Okay, well, I'll give you my what if, and I haven't run this by anybody. You're the first person I said
Let's
this
go.
To, so,
love it.
We know that in 2028, Memphis is no longer going to be on the premier part of the PGA Tour. We believe that in 2028, John Deere will not be a part of the big tour. I think a great idea would be to take those two events, ally it with St. Louis, just like BMW has done. You know, BMW jumps to a new location every year. Well, what if you had the Mid-America Classic, and one year you played in Memphis, the next year you played in St. Louis, the next year you played in the Quad Cities, and then do that again, and rotate the sponsors. John Deere when they're in John Deere, FedEx when they're in FedEx, Anheuser-Busch when they're in St. Louis. What if you allied those three tournaments, shared resources? You have the proximity of all the galleries are not great distances. I think a concept like that, I think a club would look at that and say, yeah, we want a PGA Tour event. We don't want it every 3 years. Or they'd say, our town can support you financially 1 year, but we need a little break before we can come back with the money a few years down the road. So if I knew a billionaire and I was trying to persuade them to do something, I'd approach the tour. I do know the tour wants to be in the Midwest. The players want to be in the Midwest. They're not in the Midwest, you know, and they're looking at Chicago, but Chicago is a little bit like St. Louis. It's a great event town, but they haven't had great success with recurring events. And Chicago has a lot more going on than we have in St. Louis. But I would like to see the Mid-America Classic rotate on 3 different destinations over a continuing basis. What do you think of that?
I love it. I saw some people talk about that. Not that exact thing, but I think I saw somebody say, you know, Omaha, Chicago, and St. Louis go in on a 3-year type thing. So I love the idea behind it. And I would think that the PGA Tour, just with the struggles that they're having, Dan, at keeping some of these events and keeping the sponsorship connected to some of these events, if they're not thinking outside of the box on scenarios like those, then they're doing a disservice to the sport.
And that's why I included 2 events that are going away. You have a great fan base. I mean, great fan base for the John Deere. We know Memphis is a poster child for the PGA Tour because of its affiliation with St. Jude. So and I talked to a broadcaster from Memphis who says they're really angry in the town because they know that next year is their last year of being a real PGA Tour town. Why not tap into those existing fan bases, put them all together? Like I said, geographically, and for St. Louis, I mean, it's no effort to go to Memphis or to go to Quad Cities from here. And you could structure it, you know, you leave the title sponsor in place in each town and the other 2 become presenting sponsors. So financially that works. You have volunteer bases. There's a lot of things that would work. Not to say my idea will work. I'm just stealing from BMW because BMW goes to different locations every year and they come back eventually. And that's what all I'm proposing. Stay in the Midwest and take some existing events and keep them happy.
How much pride do you take when Jim Nantz is just glowingly speaking over St. Louis, and every single golfer who was asked about either the galleries or the way the course played, it was really positive. I mean, there's got to be a level of pride that everybody associated with this event, including huge names, said so many positive things.
I'm sort of a bad person to answer that question because even though I'm not, you know, I'm only doing the PGA and the Masters now, I've been in a lot of communities and I've been in a lot of interview rooms and I've heard a lot of questions from people sort of asking for the players to say nice things about their town. Like they're a little bit, and St. Louis in 2018 I thought was a little bit insecure in the interview room. But these were unsolicited, and the comments, and Nantz is always a great. And I can tell you, you know, they were genuinely stunned by what happened in 2018, including Tiger. And Tiger had mentioned 2018 as recently as 2 years ago because he remembers what the galleries are like. So it's genuine. I don't mean to say it's not genuine. I'm just saying it's not uncommon. You know, they made Wyndham Clark an honorary member at Bell Reef Country Club after his win yesterday. And as he was leaving the interview room, Doug Ferguson of the AP said, "So how many honorary memberships do you have now?" And he said, "I think it's 4." Okay, so certain things just automatically take place. I don't know if I've given you a good answer. I do think they're genuinely impressed, and you have to be. I do know that Rory says when I show up on Thursday morning and there's 20,000 people already there when I tee off at 9 in the morning, they're sort of stunned by that. Scheffler said the same thing. They don't see that kind of thing. They expect to show up on Thursday and Friday and see smaller galleries in the morning and maybe pick up in the afternoon. What they get on the weekend, they anticipate they'll always get on the weekend. They got it here in St. Louis all 4 days.
Dan, we are so lucky that you continue to cover the sport and do it for us here at KMOX. Thank you for everything you did all weekend long, and we'll be talking again very, very soon, but appreciate you finding some more time after a very busy weekend for you.
And, Matt, don't forget, in October, we have playoffs on the Senior Tour. We have the Stiefel Charity Classic, and that is not just a tour stop now. That is a playoff event, and that will be the best players in senior golf at this point in time. And I think people should keep that in mind.
Awesome. Very good. Thanks, Dan.
Enjoyed it.
All right. That's Dan Reardon joining us here on the program. We'll take a break. I want to tell you, though, about something. Something big is coming. Something really, really big is coming. September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day is arriving with massive deals, exclusive offers, and it's going to be an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has officially begun. All roads lead to game day. So here's what you got to do. You have to sign up with DraftKings today with code KMOX. That is code KMOX, and you've got the opportunity. This is something that's very cool. You've got the opportunity to really make the most of what you are doing when it comes to DraftKings because of what they are going to be able to give you. So again, it's September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day. It's the kickoff of a new season, a new era. They're calling it the biggest day in sports history. As new DraftKings customers, you sign up with code KMOX, you spend $5, you get $200 in bonus bets within 21 days. Let me say that one more time. You spend $5, $200 in bonus bets within 21 days. You have to use KMOX in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions do apply. $50 in non-withdrawable bonus bets issued every 7 days via a clip-to-claim for 21 days. Bonus bets will expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. This is a limited time offer.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
James Beard award-winning chef Kevin Nashin announces the Clydesdale, a Clock Avenue Tavern at Ballpark Village, opening August 27th. KMOX is excited for this highly anticipated American tavern, rooted in familiar favorites, elevated through refined technique and premium ingredients. Reservations for the Clydesdale are now open. Book your table and experience a fresh take on tavern dining on one of the most iconic streets in Major League Baseball. For details and reservations, visit stlballparkvillage.com.
After a disaster, emotional recovery takes time. Show Me Hope Missouri offers free, confidential support wherever you are. Call or text 1-800-985-5990 and connect with a local crisis counselor today. From Missouri Department of Mental Health.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Running a business shouldn't feel like a juggling act. One app for accounting, another for inventory, one more for sales, and somehow they never work together. Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated platform with all the business applications you need. CRM, inventory, accounting, marketing, and more. All working together seamlessly. Stop juggling software and get back to growing your business. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
When it comes to your health, exceptional care matters. At St. Luke's, nationally recognized physicians, advanced technology, and compassionate care come together to provide an exceptional healthcare experience close to home. St. Luke's is nationally recognized for excellence across multiple specialties, including being named number 3 in the nation for cardiovascular care. Because when you need expert care, you shouldn't have to travel far to find it. St. Luke's, exceptional care, nationally recognized, right here at home. Learn more at stlukes-stl.com.
Closeout season is heating up at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners with sizzling hot summer savings on John Deere compact tractor packages. For a limited time, get $6,600 off the S&P price on a John Deere 5050E with a loader, plus 0% financing with 0 down. Find compact tractor package savings at snpartners.com. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 8/31/2026. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Dollar General.
Lockheed Martin is developing new technology aimed at stopping drones, which have become battlefield game changers in Ukraine and the Middle East. Lockheed demonstrated its NetSense airspace awareness system, which uses commercial 5G networks to detect drones while demonstrating the ability to knock the drone down by firing a rocket from a containerized launcher. Verizon and NVIDIA helped with the tech. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You know, most sellers put their home on the market and they just wait to see what happens. Well, I'm Kevin Wheeler, and I'm here with Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And Gloria, is there a better way to sell?
There is. Instead of listing your home the traditional way and hoping for the right buyer, I can get you up to 8 competitive cash offers right from the start. That means you're not guessing what your home might sell for. You're looking at the real offers and choosing the one that works the best for you. It also helps you to set the right price and create stronger demand if you decide to go to market. It gives you control, leverage, and a clear path forward before you accept just any offer. And remember, I'll guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Before you sell your home, see what your options are. Call the one that I trust. That's Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. That's gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
For decades, Morgan & Morgan has represented hundreds of thousands of people at their hour of need. Injuries on the job, car crashes, medical malpractice, and nursing home abuse, Social Security claims, dangerous drugs, and dangerous products. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason, and no firm is even close. Then we got to thinking, what if we could prevent these terrible events before they occurred? So we built the AI-powered People Protector. Simply visit peopleprotector.com and type in the product you have questions about before you buy it. Children's toys and accessories, cars, drugs, products, you name it, we got it. With our success, we decided to pay it forward for all of America. Our way of saying thank you for your trust all these years. Morgan & Morgan, protecting America. And if you've already been injured, just visit us at forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Soldiers Memorial Military Museum looks at American military history through the lens of St. Louis.
From the Revolutionary War to the present day, the galleries showcase stories of local service members and delve into the city's wartime history. Outside, the Court of Honors includes monuments to those who lost their lives in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Open Wednesday through Sunday. Admission is free. Find information about special exhibits at mohistory.org/memorial. That's mohistory.org/memorial.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Acres and is now 25% contained. Chief Richard Edwards with the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District.
We do know that the fire was human caused. We do not know if it was intentional or unintentional. And so the investigators are still working through that right now. More than likely, this fire will be classified as undetermined.
It is a mystery, like something from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. People climbing out of New York City manholes. In the latest incident, 3 people were caught on camera emerging near Manhattan's Penn Station. Ew. Similar incidents also reported in Brooklyn and Queens. ABC's Aaron Katursky.
These could be urban scavengers looking for valuables, but the city says sewers can contain numerous hazards, including noxious and potentially deadly gases, unstable surfaces, flooding risks, and confined spaces.
This is ABC News. Meat lovers hope for a beef price drop as a ban on the importation of Mexican cattle into the U.S. expires.
The embargo was enacted to prevent the spread of potentially deadly New World screwworm larvae in U.S. cattle herds. Now that the ban is being lifted, at least in a limited way,
the laws of supply and demand are fully in play.
Tracy Tomasic is with the Texas Farm Bureau.
We have less supply, it gets more expensive.
With imports increasing, he says the price should begin to come down. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
In Florida, a mother and her 2-year-old daughter were killed over the weekend after officials say they were struck by lightning in front of their home near Fort Lauderdale. Neighbors called 911 after discovering their bodies on the ground, the pair being rushed to local hospitals but were pronounced dead shortly after. Country music icon Dolly Parton opening up on social media, saying she's doing well after an infection related to kidney stones forced her to cancel several planned shows in Las Vegas. I'm Stephanie Officer, ABC News.
At 7:02, we have light rain around the area and 75 degrees. I'm Maria Kina in for Michael Calhoun. The city is unveiling new relief options for tornado victims worried about the end of the water bill moratorium. Mayor Kara Spencer.
Eligible residents may receive discounted water rates, credits against their delinquent balances, customized repayment plans, or in cases where the home has been uninhabitable since the tornado, an outright forgiveness.
Since the end of the moratorium, city residents have paid off $2 million of debt. Spencer says the $500 credit through ARPA funds also remains available to help many residents. A city official says a 2-year-old city program saved both lives and limbs. The Code Blue program started last winter and provides both transportation and a one-night stay in a warm shelter for unhoused residents during extremely cold nights. Adam Pearson, the director of human services for the city, says emergency services prevents residents from dying of hypothermia or developing frostbite.
There's some interest out there to actually make it a part of legislation via an ordinance. I think the most important thing for me is that we continue to fund winter services to the highest extent that we can. I think the bigger picture, though, is we need more affordable housing in the city.
The program recently received $2 million from St. Louis use taxes for services this winter. Missouri cattle producers are pushing back about President Trump's plan to increase the amount of foreign beef entering the United States market.
President Trump wants to temporarily expand imports of foreign ground beef and ease restrictions on some imported beef products to boost supply and help lower grocery prices. Missouri Cattlemen's Association President Anita Vanderwert says the move will hurt cattle producers, discourage herd expansion, and benefit meat packers instead of farm families. Missouri Congressman Sam Graves also criticized the proposal, saying it could undermine American cattle producers. The association is urging Missouri's congressional delegation to oppose the plan. Matt Pilger, Missouri Net.
If you suffer from seasonal allergies, well, you will likely have to have a love-hate relationship with the rain this fall.
AccuWeather predicting spikes in grass and weed pollen this fall. Senior meteorologist Chad Merrill says rain only provides brief relief.
The day of a rainstorm, the pollen count will be lower. However, after the rain ends, what you typically can see is the grass and weed pollen counts start to increase quite a bit.
Merrill says the worst of the allergy season should be over after October. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
More than 80 countries will be represented this Saturday and Sunday at the annual Festival of Nations in Tower Grove Park.
More than 100 food booths this year. Really meant to kind of, again, address some of the lines that people run into at festival, but so many different options for entertainment as well. We have 2 different stages of entertainment, poets and dancers and single artists and whole collaboratives that are going to be performing.
Blake Hamilton with the International Institute says last year they were not sure there would even be a festival due to federal cuts and changes to immigration policy, but the community rallied. He adds this may be their largest festival yet. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, Dave Murray has our forecast.
It's another pretty evening around town as our days continue to get shorter. Partly cloudy skies, 67 for the overnight low. Just a tiny chance of a spot thunder shower late tonight. Don't worry about it. Tuesday, partly to mostly sunny. About 85 for the high. Tuesday night, partly cloudy and 70. Wednesday, partly sunny. Looking for a high Wednesday near 90. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
We have some light rain around the area. St. Peter's, 71 degrees at 75 in Florissant. And downtown at the Arch, we have clouds and 75 degrees. I'm Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line, presented in part by St. Luke's Hospital, St. Louis's #1 heart hospital on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, back at it as we do get into the 7 o'clock hour. Coming up this hour, we'll hear from Hein Bloom a little bit later on. He does his weekly conversation with Tom Ackerman on Sunday mornings. We try to take a little bit of that on Mondays and play back some of the clips, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. Cardinals are going through a lot right now. They are going through a lot right now, and we'll touch on some of those things, whether it's the injuries, the pitching situation, just they're going through a lot. They're back at it tomorrow, by the way, when they take on Baltimore. Wanted to bring on right now Matthew Rocchio. He does a great job covering City SC. He's also our producer a lot of times here in the evening time, so it works out quite well. I don't have to work that hard to book Matthew Rocchio when he's already going to be in the studio. So that's a good thing. City, they are coming off another win. They just keep winning. They just keep finding a way. And the win against Houston, 2-1. That's a really good Houston team. That's a heck of a game for them, and it's good to see. So that's good. What is not good is some of the players who are really well known and well liked are walking out the door. Marcel Hartle earlier. Now it is Edward Leuven who's not going to be part of this team, and he has been through so much personally and supported. And St. Louis has really loved him. And now for whatever reason, and we'll talk about that with Matthew Rocchio coming up here in just a moment. For whatever reason, he is not going to be here anymore. So let's bring Matthew Rocchio on to the program. And this is something where I think fans are really enjoying right now, the fact that they're winning so much. But I also think there is some discontent with the fact that some players that they really appreciate aren't going to be here anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing because they're playing really well. So you think, hey, let the good times roll. 12-game unbeaten streak, 11 of those being inside of MLS play. One of those is their win over Houston in the U.S. Open Cup. That's why there's a semifinal game coming up in September. So all that's great, but at the same time, you lose just objectively your two best players outside of your goalkeeper, and people have to ask questions about how sustainable this is. What is the future going to look like? What is this team trying to do this season? And those are all fair questions, I think.
This might be a large segment of tell me why I'm wrong, which is fine because I get stuff wrong all the time. I think sometimes as Americans, when we're talking about MLS, we have a hard time acknowledging the fact that MLS is not the top league because we're used to Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, the NFL. That is the top thing. In the whole world, that's the best baseball, the best football, the best hockey, the best whichever one I just didn't mention of the four. In soccer, it's not that way. So if a player leaves City to go to a team in another country, a lot of times I just accept that as, okay, they're going to a higher level. Whether that's true or not, I just kind of accept that for what it is. When I see one of your guys who's such a big part of the team going to another MLS team, that's where I go, why? What? So this Leuven situation, and then, I mean, there's just the personal stuff behind it. Tell me why this is happening and tell me why this has to be happening.
It gets down to the asset management side of things, which is on the front leg of things, he's not having the best year. If you dig into a lot of the numbers, he's actually not having a down year. It's just that he's been so good and been such a large part of the team, 2023, 2024, 2025. He's had a lesser role this year, so it feels like he's been diminished. He's still playing very well, but his value probably isn't the highest it could be because he started the season late because of the unfortunate tragedy of his wife passing away. He had to get back into shape and things like that, so he's only really played 7 or 8 games of the 21 of this season at full strength, 100%. So his value is a little bit lower. So it seems questionable. They have an option for him next season. His value is not at its highest right now. Why sell him now? And the simple fact is because he most likely wasn't going to improve his value over the next however many months because he's not going to be part of Yoann Damet's primary plan because he doesn't fit Yoann Damet's system in a complete 100% way. And when you bring in guys like Alex Matan and you bring in guys like Carlo Holse who fit his system almost like a glove, it makes sense why a head coach who doesn't necessarily think he can fit that player into his system 100%, he's going to say, listen, let's get the value for him now because I'm not going to be playing him enough for you guys to actually retain or pick up more value. So now is the best time as an asset to move him in this window. I disagree with him not being able to fit Edward Leuven into the system, but that appears to be the DeMay's opinion on things, and it's his team and his system, and so we're going to have to acquiesce to that.
Well, will they say, because if I was running like communications for City, my advice to them on that would be you need to explicitly state this to the fans, whether it's DeMay, whether it's Corey Ray, whoever it might be. You need somebody to get in front of a microphone and in no uncertain terms say, we love Edward Leuven. We think he's a really, really good player, but he doesn't fit our system, so that's why we're moving on from him. Will they do that?
I think no, they won't directly say that, mainly because I think in the world of sports, I think DeMay would probably view as admitting that as maybe taking a shot at Leuven at a level he doesn't want to in public, basically saying he doesn't fit this system. I wonder if he would say because DeMay's thing is like a lot of coaches, like if you ask him a question a certain way, you'll get one answer. If you ask the same question in a slightly different way, he might stonewall you and give you nothing. And I think expecting him to admit that Edward Leuven just doesn't fit into the system, he's done it in other ways that are much less direct. And so that's how we kind of got here, is that we can piece together a lot of comments he's made and get to this answer. But he at no point has publicly come out and said definitively he doesn't fit this system, and I don't expect him to.
I think they should. Do you just? I get the sense you disagree with me.
No, I think I would love for them to do it. I just think.
I don't think, and not to interrupt you, but I don't think that's disrespectful at all. I think that's giving a reason.
Yeah.
I think that's lifting this guy up and saying he really fits other teams. He's a really good player. We just want to do things a little bit differently. And for the fans who have A, fallen in love with this guy, B, watched him have some good moments for the team, and C, which is very unique to him, have supported him through an unthinkable tragedy where there is an emotional connection to this individual that you don't see exist in sports very often. I think fans are owed more candor in the reason for them moving on from him.
I think Corey Ray will say something closer to what you expect.
That's fine.
I don't think DeMay will, but I think Corey Ray will admit that he's a great player, but he doesn't fit what we're doing going forward. I don't know if we're going to get anything more demonstrative than that, because part of the reporting from Tom Bogert of The Athletic is that Edward Leuven went to them and said, I want some long-term answers. And I think the bigger thing is that they were probably I think they might have been talking to teams, and he heard about it and was like, hey, what's going on long-term? But they don't want to. Why not talk long-term with Edward Leuven? He's 29 years old. He's entering his prime. You don't need multiple years to rebuild an MLS team. He should be part of a winning team going forward. So what's the only reason to do this? If his value is not at its highest, if you have an option for him for next year, and he's 29 years old, the only reason to do this is, one, you don't expect him to have a large role, and two, he gets paid too much for the role you expect him to have, and therefore you think it's bad roster management to have a player making 100% starter money everywhere, every other team in the league that's starter money. Having that guy be a bench player is bad roster management, and would also hurt his value going into next year. So we get back to the asset management side of things. So I can see an angle of why they do this, but you have to accept the premise of Yohan DeMay doesn't think that Edward Leuven fits this system long-term. And for some people, that's a tricky premise to accept.
Okay, so that's what they believe. A few moments ago, you said you think essentially that they should find a way to make him fit in the system or something along that lines. Take me through that a bit. What is it that you feel like the organization could have done to make sure that it would work?
This is not just soccer. This is, in my opinion, any sport. There are ways to fit any kind of player. And I think the history of sports over the last 20 or 30 years across any sport is stories of players who one group of people said, he can't do that, he can't fit, he can't play in this league at this time. And another group says, if you just tweak something a little bit, there's plenty of ways to fit this guy in. And I think there's different examples across multiple sports where guys who are not traditional in a way you look at the game can find a way to fit because the coach finds a way. And my thing, and why I have an issue with this, is that Yohan DeMay clearly is a very talented coach. His system is very good. And he talks a lot about flexibility in the system, variability in the attack, so that defenses don't know what's coming. Edward Leuven might not be 100% pure fit, but he's a very good player. He's better than most of the people on this roster. And so being able to find a spot for him in this offense seems like it should be something they should be able to do, to embrace that flexibility, embrace that variability. But DeMay has decided, and he's talked about this before, sometimes when he plays a player that can't run as much as he wants, because a lot of this comes down to just DeMay wants players who are going to run nonstop for 90 minutes and who also can slow things down and play a very technical, sound game, not like what we saw in 2023 when it was all energy drink football, as people like to say. So he wants people who can run a ton the entire game. That's not Edu's game. But to me, you can morph things around him and still fit him in there without losing too much. I just think DeMay would disagree.
So over the last few years, again, I think some of the fan favorites have been obviously Klaus, and I had no issue with them moving on from him. I think that made sense for a lot of reasons. Jake Nowitzki, Indiana Vasiliev, Marcel Hartl, now Edward Leuven. Like, those are, 5 of the most 7, 8, 9 most fan favorite guys in the history of the organization.
And people love Nico Gioacchini. They got rid of him after the very first season.
So who's and part of that is the personality as well. You know, those guys have good personalities. Who on this team is in that next group?
I think Dante Polvara is an interesting choice. He's playing really well. He's a young guy. He's a good talker, and he's part of this regime. He's one of the first moves under Corey Ray that this team made. So you know that everything from the perspective of, does he fit the system? Could he be here long term? He's young. He doesn't get paid a lot. And clearly he fits this system like a glove because he played a different position before they brought him here and switched him to this spot, and he's playing this well. Polvara could be one of them going forward. I think Daniel Edelman's a really special kid. He's a little quiet, gets a little bit better in front of the camera and things like that. Daniel Edelman should quickly become a fan favorite. And then hopefully Alex Matan and Carlo Holse. The reason why DeMay got his guys in there and could transfer Edward Leuven. He got his guys in, so they're going to have to embrace it as well.
And I get that. I get a new sporting director, new coach. You want your own people. You want guys that fit the system. It's just they can't lose, yet the individuals that fans are most connected to are walking out the front door. It's a really weird thing right now.
And that's the thing is you have to continue to give the benefit of the doubt to Yohan DeMay because he keeps winning. And if you hear the conversations we have with him, he's obviously knows what he's doing. He's a smart guy. He's only 36 years old, and he's pulling this off. The team keeps winning as they lose talent. That tells you the system is doing something right. DeMay knows what he's doing. I disagree with him on this one. He will most likely prove me wrong.
You can just argue back and forth with Matthew Rocchio all you want if you go on Twitter at RockSTLReal, ROCC, by the way, at ROCC STL Real. Make sure to check him out there. Does incredible job. Both the two main things he's covering, City SC, and then his Billikens coverage is top notch as well. And he's a pretty good producer as well. So, Matthew, thanks for doing that for a few minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Pauley.
All right, again, we're going to go back through much of what Chaim Bloom said to Tom Ackerman in just a moment or so, and he talks every Sunday morning during Sports on a Sunday morning. I said it before, it's such a fun kind of 72 hours where much of the Cardinal conversation is set with what Chaim Bloom says on Sunday and what Oliver Marmol says during the Gas House Gang on Tuesdays. That'll be tomorrow at 12 noon. Right now, I want to tell you about my friends at i3 Broadband. I love i3 Broadband. They are the internet service provider at my home, and I could not imagine anybody else. I have never in my entire life ever been passionate about an internet service provider until I got i3 Broadband, because we all rely on internet so much. Just everything that we do seemingly in our homes, everybody, a smart refrigerator, a smart dishwasher, a smart everything, smart doorbell. You need bandwidth, you need internet, you need reliability. That's what i3 Broadband always gives you. That's the best thing about it, the reliability. You don't have like these micro dropouts out of the middle of nowhere. I used to have that when I had the cable company. Just why is my internet down? How long is it going to be down for? I never knew. That doesn't happen with i3 Broadband. Gig speed internet. You can get 1 gig, 2 gig, 8 gigs. It's fiber directly into your homes, and it comes at a really good price. When I pay my bill every month, I never go, man, I am getting gouged. I was an i3 customer well before I was talking to you about them here on the radio, and it is something that I really, really believe in. So check them out for yourself, i3broadband.com/radio, i3broadband.com/radio. They're always adding new neighborhoods throughout the St. Louis area. i3broadband.com/radio. Make sure to check them out for yourself.
The original Gas House Gang was loud, scrappy, unshaven, and impossible to ignore.
Typical Gas House Gang baseball.
The KMOX version, still loud, still scrappy, better shaving habits, and still impossible to ignore. Ackerman, Ranji, Claves, and Miklasz. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Recently, our company's softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Dale's a loser. I play to win, like early payout from Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later.
Sound familiar, Dale?
Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Missouri. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Want more cash? You can get a $450 bonus after your first 45 deliveries with Uber Eats. That's a bonus $150 for every 15 deliveries. But what if you're seeing other apps? That's cool. We're not the jealous type. So go ahead, add Uber Eats to your roster and sign up to start delivering. You can get a $450 bonus after 45 deliveries when you start delivering with Uber Eats. Sign up now. Complete within 14 days of sign up, ends 11/1. Terms apply. See app for details.
Aging control systems can increase downtime and cybersecurity risk, especially in operations that run 24/7. Graybar helps organizations evaluate automation architectures and support the right upgrades, whether through incremental updates or full system replacements. The result is better visibility, stronger reliability, and a scalable foundation ready for what's next. Yep, Graybar does that.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The best time to recommit to your gut health goals? Right now. Take charge of your gut with Nature Made. Our clinically studied ingredients support digestive health. Digestive enzymes break down nutrients. Probiotic and prebiotic fiber nourish good gut bacteria. And super greens with probiotics empower daily digestive health. Try the full lineup of gut health support from Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are talking to Dr. Premal Thacker.
So we're trying to actually educate our general surgeons if you're getting a hernia repair or a gallbladder out and a woman is done with childbearing, even if they don't have an elevated risk for the development of ovarian cancer, to really get those fallopian tubes out. So we're on a mission to try to prevent ovarian cancer.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line, presented in part by St. Luke's Hospital, St. Louis's #1 heart hospital, on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Back at it on the Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name's Matt Pauley. Just a few minutes left in the program as we take you until 8 o'clock this evening. No Cardinals baseball this evening. Cardinals are back at tomorrow as they are set to open up a series against the Baltimore Orioles. There's some question marks about the Cardinals roster going into this series coming up tomorrow. We don't really know what the pitching is going to look like over the next few days. We don't totally know what some of the positions. Is Mason Wynn going to still be on the roster tomorrow, or is he going to end up on the injured list? There's just a lot of stuff that is up in the air. We like to do this on Mondays. We don't have a lot of Mondays where we have shows because more often than not, the Cardinals are playing on Monday, but this is one of those weeks where the Cardinals are not playing on Monday, so we try to go back and play for you some of what Cardinals President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom had to say during a conversation that he always has with Tom Ackerman during Sports on a Sunday morning. If you don't catch it on Sunday mornings, would encourage you to do so. Very, very cool. It's this 72-hour period where we have Chaim Bloom every Sunday morning and then Oliver Marmol every Tuesday afternoon for Gas House Gang. Must listen to radio for Cardinals fans. But for those of you who A, either miss Chaim on Sundays, or B, would like to hear some of it again, or C, would like to hear some of it again, and then maybe with my thoughts thrown in there as well. We do on Mondays try to play back some of what Chaim did say to Tom on Sunday morning. So with that, let's get right to it. And it should be noted This conversation does take place on Sunday morning, so it happened before the terrible Cardinals loss yesterday. So everything that was said should be considered that it was being said through that lens, that what happened in the finale against the Phillies had not yet occurred. Not that that impacts things very much, but just something to keep in mind. And they opened up talking about Quinn Matthews because the previous day, Saturday, Matthews went out and he struggled. He definitely struggled against the Phillies, but what he did was he found a way to make it through 5. And there are some days where it just does not go well because the Phillies scored 3 runs in the first and 4 runs in the third. At that point, with all due respect to all parties involved, it's a long shot that the Cardinals are going to find a way to win this game. So what can you do to make sure that you're not hurt too much from a bullpen perspective moving forward? And Matthews, even with an elevated pitch count, was able to find his way through 5 innings. And Heim said that that was something that was good to see and was key and a very small positive to take away from that.
Obviously, something like that, there's not many positives in a sense to take. You don't feel good at the end of that one, but it was really critical what he was able to do to go back out there, be able to give us 5 on a reasonable pitch count. Those things do matter over the course of a season. They are a sign of some additional maturity and some growth on the part of a young pitcher, and it's just really important, especially where our pitching staff is right now. Obviously, no secret, we've been beat up in a couple different ways. So really nice to see him do that, and nice to be able to take that from an evening when not a whole lot of other things went right.
I do think that is notable because, and a lot of our conversation here and what we've talked about today on the show has been connected to starting rotation health and the bullpen just being absolutely worn to a nub here, and that's where they're at. So getting another inning or so from Matthews, that helps this team. The off day today helps the team as well, but this is a bullpen that's been worked hard, and it's a rotation that for a number of reasons you're not getting what you have been getting. I mean, this has been a top 10 rotation this season, but right now, in many ways, it's kind of a shell of itself. For the first part, because of the injuries. Both Andre Palante and Hunter Dobbins are out. Heim gave an update on both those players.
Andre's a little bit more straightforward in that we've already got the baseball back in his hand, and obviously he's going to miss his next turn, just the timing of the IL, but we're hopeful that he can be back after that and planning on that. And, as long as we don't have any hiccups there, that should be the case, and it should only be a minimum stay. With Hunter, obviously this is all pretty fresh, and we want to get a little more work to just make sure we understand the extent of this and don't take any unnecessary chances, knowing how critical arm health is, and the flexor in particular is really important to protect the other structures in the arm. So we're still kind of mapping that out. Obviously, he is on the IL, so we know at a minimum he's going to miss a little bit of time, and we're going to see from there when we get everybody back home and go through some more tests. So we're going to have to figure out what to do with his spot. These next couple times through, and we're still having discussions on that, but we'll have more information as we get through the week.
And then the other thing that's going on, and this has become somewhat controversial, I think yesterday specifically because of what happened with the game and the way that Kyle Leahy was handled, there seems to be a fair amount of people that don't like what the Cardinals are doing right now when it comes to kind of slowing down, taking the foot off the pedal on Kyle Leahy. And I get it in the sense that you've got a guy who has been really, really good. He's been really, really good this year, and you're not getting the innings from him that you were getting before. But it's also very clear that when you push a guy's workload, and I've said this a million times, I'll repeat it one more time. When you push a guy's workload exponentially past a certain number from one season to the next, you're just asking for injury, and you're asking for major injury. You're asking for Tommy John. And if the Cardinals just kept giving the ball to Kyle Leahy every 5th day and letting him go as long as he could, and then next year in spring suffers an injury, he's got Tommy John, and he misses a season, we could really easily point back to bad decisions that were made. So I'm 100% with the Cardinals on what they're doing with Kyle Leahy, but it does create a challenge for this team. And Heim did talk about the fact that they are trying to navigate Leahy through the season.
Kyle's just been outstanding and seems to be getting better as the season goes along. I remember you and I having conversations in April and May of, hey, are you going to be able to stick with this? And, this is an example of why you do when you trust someone to adjust and adapt and grow. But That being said, we do need to be mindful of this and make sure that even bigger and better days are ahead for him. And so that's part of the plan as we go forward. And obviously with the injuries to some of the other guys, we're going to have to get a little more creative as to how we do that, because we want to make sure that we can keep him going and keep him in a position to help us win games without putting so much on him that we're taking unnecessary risks with his future, as he's really established himself as a capable major league starting pitcher.
The roster move they did make here over the last couple of days was Ryan Fernandez got called up. He's been more good than bad at the big league level this season. Now, some of his numbers, like his ERA, looks maybe a little bit better than it actually is, just because there's been some unearned runs that he's given up this year. But for the most part, Fernandez has gone out there and he's been able to do a mostly good job for the Cardinals. And we'll see what happens. I mean, things do happen. Things do change, obviously, where all of a sudden you might need a roster spot. And he did his outing against the Phillies did not look good, where he went 2 innings, allowing 4 runs on 4 hits. But all that being said, I'm indicating that we'll see a pretty solid run here for Fernandez getting an opportunity at the major league level.
I think as we go through, certainly this week, with knowing we are going to have to get a little creative with our pitching plan, and then into September when rosters expand, I think Ryan's one of a few guys that I would expect we'll see some opportunity up here, both because they deserve it, and there's a few guys you could say that about, and the way that they pitch down in AAA, and also just to make sure that we're doing right, not just by our future and getting some of these guys a little more experience, but also just making sure that we have capable arms up here to shoulder the load, as of course we do need to work around some of these injuries and make sure we're taking care of everybody's workload. So it is going to be a team effort as we go through the coming weeks. I don't think that's so unusual. As you get into September, you usually have that. We're in the dog days of the year where guys are carrying a lot of workload. We have a young team, so you have a lot of guys in territories where they haven't really been before, and that's why it's important to have these reinforcements. And we always talk about it. It's like this cliche that you never have enough pitching, and we've been so fortunate and due to the hard work of a lot of people over the last couple of years to avoid the injury bug, and it got us this week. I mean, that's going to happen. So that's why we're going to continue as we go forward to always be trying to amass pitching depth, because you really never have enough.
Since we are talking about the injury situation, a couple guys that are dealing with injuries, one to the injured list, one not yet. We'll start with the one who's not yet. That is shortstop Mason Wynn. He is dealing with a jammed thumb. Took him a little while to get some imaging. We've talked about that on the program, which seems a little bit odd. And they do seem historically more willing to let Wynn try to work through stuff as opposed to going on the injured list. And again, this came yesterday morning. We'll get more details tomorrow, but this was the update on Mason Wynn.
We haven't quite turned the corner yet with that. And he's a tough kid, loves to play. He always posts, and so when he doesn't, he really it needs a day, or in this case, that it isn't progressing the way that we hoped after he jammed it on the base the other day. So, we're doing our best to stay away from him as we go forward here and get a better look at this thing when we get back home, make sure we haven't missed anything, and at a minimum, just try to buy him the benefit of that off day to try to turn the corner so that he can get in there. Obviously, it does affect him swinging a bat, and it has really limited what he's been able to do. So we're trying our best to take care of him. We miss him out there. Obviously, what he does, particularly in the field, is such a big part of our winning formula. And the energy he brings and the way he's been playing lately has probably been his best baseball of the year. And so it does hurt not to have him out there. And he's working hard, and our training staff's working hard to help him get to the point where he can get back out there as soon as possible, because we do miss him.
So with that, the team is already playing a man down, really. And then Everson Pereira, while he does not fracture his finger, he was unable to hold a bat. So that ended up putting him in a spot where he almost has to go to the injured list.
We were hopeful yesterday. We tried to test that out, and again, for him on the hitting side in particular is where that really gets to. Your hands are obviously so important to what you do at the plate, and we just did not see the progress that we were hoping to make yesterday with that. So, with Everson, we're going to end up needing to take a few days to let this calm down, and we'll have what's hopefully a short-term IL stint for him, and that allows us to bring Ramon Urias, whose rehab is pretty much at the end stages, to bring him back and help us out here as we look to make a push to get us to September. So not something that appears too severe. The x-rays look good. We seem to have dodged the worst with Everson, which is nice because he's been a nice spark since he's come. But, obviously it's tough to play shorthanded, and with this lingering and being a little more severe than we originally hoped in terms of his ability to do things, we wanted to just make sure we were able to give it time to calm down without putting a lot of other people in uncomfortable positions, given he can't play for a little bit.
A couple other things from Chaim Bloom that I thought were interesting from his conversation with Tom Ackerman on Sports on a Sunday Morning. This stretch was a tough stretch, a 3-city road trip. You had a 5-game series in there against Cincinnati. In many ways, especially with where the team is at right now, you have to survive these type of stretches. And Chaim did say that a lot of planning goes into what you need to do to survive these stretches, but at the same time, things pop up that you can't plan for.
That's the puzzle we're always trying to solve. You talk about the 5-game series. That obviously we could plan for because this has been on the schedule ever since we got rained out there earlier in the summer. So, it kind of played into things when we were mapping out Quinn's debut, knowing, okay, he's going to come up, he's going to be able to help the rotation out then. And then we're hoping to keep him around for a little bit. Obviously, we make some moves at the deadline that makes that harder to do, so he goes back down. Either way, we anticipated lining him up for that doubleheader. So that was really on the radar for multiple weeks. But when you zoom out even further than that, to weather a stretch like this week, you get some things medically that you cannot predict. I joke with a lot of people, and I don't know that it's really a joke, but it's kind of gallows humor that it often feels like a big part of my job and our job as a front office is to think of all the things that can go wrong and do everything we can to try to prevent them or to insulate us from them. And that doesn't necessarily sound like all that much fun, but it is satisfying when you do manage to build in those plans that allows other people to step in and get you through it. That's the nature of 162. I've found, over the experiences I've had in my career, and I know there's a lot of people in baseball who said the same, and frankly, our fans can see that too. You always focus on 1 through 26, and really, in some cases, you focus on your 5 or 10 best players. But when you're building this for the year, you're going to have to go much deeper than that to get where you want to go. And the cool thing when you do get there is, when you're in the tournament at the end of the season, you can look back and you can point to all these different situations where so many people stepped up and did jobs to help, whether they're people that started the year in the minor leagues or maybe even sometimes people that didn't even start the year in your organization that find ways to get involved and help us out. And you look at, there are a couple instances of that just this week alone, and hopefully we'll see more of those as we get through September. So that's part of the puzzle that we need to solve. It's not always fun in the moment when you're navigating those unforeseen sucker punches that the game will give you, but we know those are going to happen. You don't always know when, so you just try to map out as many possibilities, as many contingencies as possible to make sure you never get caught flat-footed.
And then the last thing, and this is something this is the dark cloud that continues to hang over all of baseball. The Cardinals are doing so much this year in terms of trying to prepare for 2027. And 2027 will be about 2028, but the issue about 2027 is we don't know what it will look like. We don't know what spring training will look like. We don't know if opening day is going to happen, when opening day is supposed to happen, because labor negotiations and everything and the unrest that goes along with a labor situation. And Chaim did acknowledge that it is a bit of a challenge when you are planning for something that you don't totally know what it's going to look like.
Anytime you're at this point where the CBA could change, and usually it does change at least a little bit, and sometimes it changes a lot, you don't know exactly what that's going to mean. I think the number one thing we've tried to keep first and foremost, and I do think it really runs perfectly with our bigger plan here, is we know that to be the consistent contender that we're aiming to get back to being, we're just going to need waves of talent coming through our organization at the big league level and then on the way up. And if we're able to build that, if we do amass that, we're going to be in a position where whatever comes, whether it's exactly the same or whether there are major changes, that we'll be built to weather it because we've tried to put together all that talent. So that's something you never really feel like you reach the finish line with that. But I think whatever changes do come, the fundamentals of building good rosters, the fundamentals of building good organization, those don't change all that much over time. It's just the methods and the creativity that we use as clubs to try to get to that point. That's where the arms race is, and that's where things are always changing. But if you don't stray too far from those fundamentals, I think you put yourself in a good spot.
That is Cardinals president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom, just some of what he had to say to Tom Ackerman yesterday morning during Sports on a Sunday Morning. One more break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. This is a great time to schedule those tuck pointing repairs. When you're out in the yard or on your patio, take a look over your brick, your stone, and your mortar joints on your walls, your chimney, your walkways, and your retaining walls. If they need repair, Morelli Tuck Pointing would love to help. It's a good idea to do that home maintenance before leaks are created or rebuilding is necessary. I've used Morelli Tuck Pointing to repair the brick chimneys, the walkways, and the walls of 2 homes here in St. Louis. The Morelli bids are fair, their crews are super polite, and Morelli cleans the job site. Don't take my word for it. Check out their Google reviews. Winner of the BBB Torch Award and the Next Door Neighbor Fave Award. 35 years in business and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Mirelli. Morelli, 314-645-1387 and MorelliTuckPointing.com.
James Beard award-winning chef Kevin Nashin announces The Clydesdale, a Clock Avenue Tavern at Ballpark Village, opening August 27th. KMOX is excited for this highly anticipated American tavern, rooted in familiar favorites, elevated through refined technique and premium ingredients. Reservations for The Clydesdale are now open. Book your table and experience a fresh take on tavern dining on one of the most iconic streets in Major League Baseball. For details and reservations, visit stlballparkvillage.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code PROGRAM25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PROGRAM25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PROGRAM25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Charlie Brennan here with a happy 35th anniversary to John and Cindy Morelli, who started Morelli Tuck Pointing in 1991. They were later joined by their daughter Deanna and her husband Julian. As of today, the Morellis have won every award possible for the tuck pointing industry. The BBB Torch Award, the Next Door Neighbor Fave Award, and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. When you're out in the yard or on your patio, take a look over your brick, stone, and mortar joints on your walls, chimney, walkways, and retaining walls. If they need repair, Morelli would love to help. It's a good idea to do that home maintenance before leaks are created or rebuilding is necessary. We've used Morelli Tuck Pointing to work on 2 homes and have found Morelli's bids to be fair, their work is excellent, and they clean up after themselves. 314-645-1387 and MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Taking care of yourself should fit into your life, not complicated. Neoviten Original Formula is a complete daily multivitamin designed to support your everyday wellness routine with essential vitamins, minerals, and a natural ingredient blend, all in just 2 daily tablets. Subscribe online at neoviten.com for monthly delivery or shop Neoviten at your local Schnucks and Dearborn. Neoviten Original Formula is physician formulated to fit easily into your everyday routine. All of our vitamins are manufactured in a certified GMP facility in the USA. Neoviten, make nutrition easy.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Don't let garage door problems bench your summer plans. From repairs, tune-ups, and replacements, Renner Garage Door hits a grand slam every time. Score a free repair or replacement quote today, plus $100 off a new garage door. Featuring trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, Renner delivers the quality, reliability, and performance your home can count on. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Universal Windows Direct. So time is flying by. Before long, it's going to be fall and we'll be switching from air conditioners to our heaters. Just know that you can save a lot of money 12 months out of the year by replacing your windows with our great windows. Here's the DGS deal. Buy 4 windows, get 4 for free, and 48 months, 0% interest financing, same as cash. Great company, great people. 314-334-2522, universalwindowsdirect.com.
Before YouTube DIY videos, before skip ad, before don't forget to like and subscribe, there was KMOX. And this Saturday, we're still at your service. At 8, the Garden Hotline with Michelle Reeser-West, sponsored by Chesterfield Valley Nursery. At 11, the Home Improvement Show with Rich Orris, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts. So, skip the videos and get it done right. KMOX is at your service, starting Saturday at 8. Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line, presented in part by St. Luke's Hospital, St. Louis's #1 heart hospital, on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Wrap up this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. Again, Cardinals off tonight, back at tomorrow. I'm not trying to overstate the importance of a 500 team playing a midweek game against Baltimore towards the end of August. I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But I do think that this next 3-game series, to me, and look, anytime you're in the moment, it feels bigger than probably it actually is. But when you consider the run that the Cardinals were on, winning series after series after series, as they played themselves back into wildcard contention, following that up with a terrible weekend in Philadelphia. I say terrible weekend. They could have easily won 2 of the 3. They lost all 3. That's what makes it terrible. You get swept when you don't win a single game and you have a couple challenging moments in the game. Terrible. But I wouldn't say that they played that poorly. There were poor moments. Riley O'Brien had a bad day, certainly on Sunday. There were poor moments in the game. But just the weekend did not go the way you would want. I'm spending way too much time trying to put a definition to what it was. So what happens here? Do the Cardinals do what they've done all season long? Anytime that they've felt a little bit of adversity, they go run through it. They react to it. They bounce back from it. Whatever sports cliche you would like to use. Does that happen again? Does it happen again? And if it does happen again, they win a couple in a row. Marlins fall back. Diamondbacks fall back. And then you're right there. You're still very much in playoff contention, and you're still very much playing games that matter. But if there is a hangover, and there's no reason to believe there would be either. Like, I feel almost, I want to punch myself in the face. Maybe that's how people generally feel when they listen to me. I want to punch myself in the face as I'm talking about this, because everything that we have seen from the Cardinals this year is that they are, one of their great skills is the ability to bounce back from adversity. And why wouldn't you believe that they could just do it again? Was it because there were some moments that just looked really bad against Philadelphia? Do we just ignore the fact that there's only been a handful of teams this year that have won as many series in a row as what the Cardinals just did, taking a series from the Yankees, from the Rockies, the Phillies, the Cubs, and the Reds before doing this, before losing all 3 against the Phillies. It's not normal in baseball to just win that many series in a row. So again, I'm not trying to put lipstick on the pig here. I realize it did not look great against the Phillies. But I'm going to be very curious to see if they do what they've done all year long and find some way to bounce back. There's some more adversity right now than they've had all year long. You've got 2 pitchers on the injured list right now in Palante and Dobbins. You've got another pitcher who you're not trusting to go much past 4 or 5 innings in Leahy. You don't have a 5th starter. I'm very curious to see what happens there. If they go look to the outside, they've got an open spot on the 40-man roster, so they can do that if they need to. You've got Mason Wynn, who's got the jam thumb, and we don't know if he's going to be active. I mean, there's a lot of things going against them, and I'm not running away from any of that. That being said, they've had some level of adversity at other times this year and have been able to plow right through. We'll see if they do that again this time. We don't know what the pitching is going to look like for sure over the next few days. The Orioles are not a very good team. Not that that matters, because the Cardinals, again, have shown the ability to beat the best teams and lose to the worst teams. But at the very least, you do have an Orioles team coming in that's not especially good. 6:45 first pitch tomorrow. That means coverage at 5:50. We'll do Redbird Rush Hour 5 to 5:50, and then we'll jump into a pregame after that. Thanks to all my guests. This has been a fun show tonight. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. We'll talk to you again tomorrow for Redbird Rush Hour and Cardinals baseball here on your home for the Cardinals, KMOX.
Who's been talking about St. Louis sports since 1985?